If the comeback be
Sure.
very we have potentially a lot of maps done for NY. So easy.
Here we go. Let's start. So before we even start, guess what, people? Double snipe. And we see on the same side, my mic is blocking the top right of my screen. We actually see single sniper. And now the whole deal with sniper on this map is just because Junkertown has such ridiculously long sightlines. And all it takes is you to go around the corner and you can get access to the entire team.
Actually going to be changed right now, so Roadhog will be the pick for Boombox at the last second. Carpe coming around the side looking for an...
And so this is what I'm talking about. Right here, you can see Carpe. All he has to do is take a very small step around the corner, and his sightline... Do I have Junkertown? I don't know if I have Junkertown. Watch maps. Oh shit, I got Junkertown. Sweet. I mean, as soon as Widow is right here, and she can see like this way, you have the entire point. The only safe spot is legitimately right here. So running a Widow, you just want to do it. It denies so much goddamn space. Just instantly.
Shot behind that Orisa shield. Meko is going to be guarding the long flank here, as you can see, putting up that defensive matrix. So
it's also why you run a counter Widow in this one.
And one of the things that teams have really learned to need to look at.
So basically what she's doing right here, I say she, as Widow is a female. The concept is Carpe is waiting for Pine to make a shot somewhere else so that Carpe can kill him.
Halts coming out of the Orisa. He sets up so many good hooks for his Roadhogs. Boombox getting hooked.
Pine wins the duel though. And with that, the push is essentially dead. Even though they got a hook, the fact that everyone... As soon as Widow dies, everyone can leave the barrier. It's not a threat anymore. They can breathe, they can leave, they can do some other stuff. And that's what they're going to do. They're just going to collapse on him. Here they made the starting debate with Bastion. Nyxl had a partnership at this level. So it's a good question. So I don't know if they saw the Junkrat. I don't think they did. They changed way too quick. You wouldn't have... Unless they saw some shots coming in. I don't know what they saw. But would Pirate Ship beat the Double Sniper? The only reason I say no is because the snipers would... The whole deal with Double Sniper is getting the sight lines and cutting off angles. So while Bastion would be really good facing this way, he's vulnerable from all the other sides. And that's what's going to happen. Double Sniper can fight against the Pirate Ship. They just have to get their angle on it and get the shot off. That's all there is to it. Especially Hanzo. Hanzo's extremely good against Bastion. In fact, I think we're gonna see it. I think we're gonna see Bastion get his ass kicked by Double Sniper. At the end of or the next attack. Pretty. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game.
As soon as we saw Meko come back to join the defense of the payload, he takes out both.
But yeah, no, it can definitely... Double Sniper can still beat Pirate Ship.
Pine's vision here.
Now Pine, set himself up on that one. Carpe going high, but Pine finding his shot.
There you go.
EQO with all the bodies out of the way, and Pine had a rough day on Wednesday, so it's good to see him up.
Here they go, and this is kind of standard play. So essentially,
my genius
you get your main tank
recognized.
Holding right here, holding the payload, the main route. The Diva, she's going to try to put pressure on here and deal with anything that happens right here. Because like I said, if Widowmaker gets here, she essentially gets the sight line for the entire place. Except for behind the staircase. So she's here to at least put some pressure if Widow rotates solo. Which, Carpe isn't not... It's not that it isn't in his skill set, but the type of solo flanks that this is really meant to destroy is Pine, and we're going to see that on the other side.
He wins a 1v1 in the Widow v Widow this time.
So,
Philadelphia
all this, it's pretty much even.
forward in the 6v5. This Riptire from Libero is going to need
Riptire, I can already tell you at this point, when Junkrat used Riptire, I was like, oh, it's not going to get anything. Why is that? Because the payload's too far. The payload is right here. Because they have snipers, the snipers are going to stretch and start getting very wide sight lines. And essentially, the tank's going to be on the cart, Orisa. Hog is not going to be right next to her, so you can't kill... Essentially, you can't kill both of these tanks at the same time with Tire. Neptuno, Mercy, already ulted. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, she didn't ult yet. I was looking at that. But with Guardian Angel, she can get away. It's going to be very tough to get anything with this Tire. It's essentially at this point, it's the entire fight is too much in the open. If you get one, the Tire's worthless. At least in this meta, because she's always there. So, and this is kind of where we see the Junkrat just not doing much. And right here is kind of what we see is going to happen with all snipers, at least on the large maps. Remember how we talked about corners briefly? Like, oh, here's a corner. Most corners in Overwatch have a far side. So if we want to just take, let's take some obvious examples. Lumbani is a good one. Why point 2 is so hard? So here's like one of the big corners, right here. You can go past it, right? You can get around all of these corners, even right back here. Here's a really tough corner. And so if the team's holding right here, what do? You go past it. Essentially, whenever there's a really tough corner in Overwatch, you can almost always go across the corner and get to some type of advantage. It's just how the maps are designed. Look at Hollywood. Right here. Really tough corner. What do? You run past it. It's just... It's how Overwatch is designed. So that's how you kind of take these corners. Is that you're going to... Junkertown one in. As soon as you get space here, even if you don't get any space, as we'll see when New York attacks, snipers will go farthest side. Why? Because they get the angle. Right, once Widow's over here, you have basically this hiding spot, and that's about it. So double sniper, expect very wide flanks at times.
That's something. The Reds comes in right away. Meanwhile, Dragon Strike coming out from Philadelphia as well. Just trying to keep this push going, and I think they're going to get it there. That should be point A.
Let's see.
Oh, the some work. This Riptire from Libero is going to need pushing forward in the 6v5.
So
back. He wins a year on Saturday.
So Carpe gets Pine, and this is the big pick. We can actually see if we can find the exact moment.
The body's out of the way, and Pine had a
Again, watch this. Once the Widow dies.
Off to a good start already here on Saturday. Carpe though answering.
We saw it.
The way, and Pine had a rough day on
Like, as soon as the Widow dies, bam, Widow's dead. Neptuno did the thing where you can, not grapple, but essentially launch yourself past. Why? Because there's no Widow to be afraid of. And being over here is a lot better than being over here, which could get you killed by the Junkrat or anything coming out of here and here and here. Just reduces variables. With no long-range threat, it's best to be in the open, especially when you have the Widow. Because if anyone tries to engage you in the open, you have the advantage.
Here on Saturday, Carpe though answering back. He wins a 1v1 in the Widow v Widow.
At this point, it's just about taking the corner, using these long ranges to take the angles, and then pin them down. Or both teams running 3 tanks, 1 healer. So that is a good question. Why are teams all running... Why is it so popular to run D.Va? You're like, alright, I want to do a dive tank. Shouldn't D.Va have some support, like a Winston or a Zarya or something like that? And then Hog, and then Orisa. And they're like, why? Well, you're running tanks for one reason. They can't die to snipers in one shot. That is your main reason. Snipers aren't that... I say snipers aren't that good against shields, but Hanzo's really fucking good against shields with the Storm Arrow. So they can actually put a good amount of damage on the shields. But Orisa, she can keep on killing people, keep on putting up the shield. And then she can halt. So she can pull stuff out for Hog to hook. So the Hog halt combo is really good. Also, your tanks just won't die in one shot. It takes 2 or 3, depending on how accurate they are. The D.Va is there because you have to have mobility. It'd be if you didn't have a D.Va. If you didn't have a D.Va, you'd have no way to put some type of pressure on whatever's out there. You'd have too slow of a composition, and even if you're doing like a slow roll type deal, the snipers are still going to slowly flank and cut off all of your area. Like, you can't hide behind the shield forever. You just can't. Unless Winston's shield ever gets buffed at like 2,000 hit points, like there's going to be no perfect place to hide within a shield, because the snipers can always get an angle. But the big thing for triple tank is they don't die. Also, Mercy's good enough at healing for you to survive. And since most people are either dying outright or they're taking 2 or 3 shots, like, you don't have to worry about healing a Junkrat. You don't. Either he dies or he lives, right? Either it's a headshot. Alright, don't gotta worry about healing him. Oh, he's full health. Don't gotta worry about healing him. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Also, Hog, because people are getting smart and they're flanking with the snipers, because why do I flank with Junkrat? First damage, right? If I find someone, they're dead. Most time. Hope if I do things right. But I'm limited on range. And accuracy. Widow is not. Neither is Hunt. There is no range issue. There is no delay issue. There is no damage issue. They turn around the corner and they can instantly kill most people in the game. So because of that, Halt is really good because they're playing around corners. Hook them. Or Hog can simply just hold down a flank by himself because he doesn't die in one shot. It just gives you options with D.Va as well. So that's why they're running 3 tanks. Mercy can do enough healing on her own. Again, people are either dying or living pretty quickly. The only weird thing is the Junkrat on this one, but that didn't work at all.
The Reds comes in right away. Meanwhile, Dragon Strike coming out from Philadelphia as well. Just trying to keep this push going, and I think they're going to get it there. That
Most people know the Hog instead of the to rush the Widow at. I mean, you need both. If the Widow's too far away, there's not much Hog can do to hook her. Right? Outside 20 meters, he can't do crap. D.Va's also used against Halt. Yep. I mean, they all have their multiple things, but the big deal is the pressure that D.Va's mobility allows.
There's your play of the game right there. I mean, he's definitely one of the best Hanzos
So,
in the league, right?
What we just saw on the last point was it was pretty much a stalemate until Carpe killed Pine. Until the Widow did something.
I think you could definitely make an argument for Philly having the best DPS.
And now we're kind of going to see that again.
Playoffs here so far. London's certainly trying to challenge that, but looking good. Pine though coming in with a
Pine gets a kill to bail his team out.
Having the best DPS combo in the Overwatch League in the playoffs here so far.
Right here. Shot in the face right there.
Certainly trying to challenge that, but looking good. Pine though coming in with a kill on the EQO.
So Widow got a pick.
But you don't really need to see where
It's
he's
done.
Anymore. He's dead.
And now the NYXL are going to have a chance to set up on the high ground. Philadelphia
reset.
play halfway through the point and control.
And I'm just making that note because we're going to see very rarely will we see in this entire series plays made by this. These 4 heroes are just kind of setting up and holding the ground for the Widow and Hanzo to do these
advantage, better sidelines. However, they are taken out thanks to Pine.
Which is also kind of a shitty thing about double snipe.
I mean, that's what you should do if you're Philly. You should try to be aggressive and take that. Oh, self-destruct coming in. Is it going to catch anybody? It catches Sato's supercharge.
So,
that's about it.
Stuff's exchanged.
So just losing that ultimate gets hooked again.
D.Va saves Orisa right there.
Dangerous moment. Oh, pulled in.
And that's actually a really good spot for Dragon. We've seen it twice. We're going to see it twice this series. I wouldn't be surprised if teams start picking up on that. But Dragon gets the main tank. And here's the dangerous part, is that he really commits too far. I don't know if he would live if he didn't go step outside, but I think going after the hog, he just needed to acknowledge it was gone. What he didn't understand, or what Jonak didn't see, or essentially he was already too deep by the time it happened, was Mono got killed.
No one was guarding the payload or pushing it forward for the Philadelphia.
So essentially what happened, because Mono got killed, everything bled in from up here. Right, hog. I mean, he could have tried to hook here and then went back, but I still think he would have died. But if the Orisa was alive, the team Philly wouldn't have been right here. They would have been back here. So it's just a small consideration of what happens when the main tank dies and it allows people to get in.
Nyxl still have a long way to run back from their defensive spawn. Try and maybe scrap out one last defense here.
True enough, it's going to be the supercharger coming in from Mono. They're going to toss a Hans ultimate through, but here comes the self-destruct right over the top.
So,
gets the supercharger.
Didn't get anything, but we can see. So overall, this is like a fundamental of Overwatch. Notice how they attack in. Of course, Hanzo ult, they have to split. But we're going to see them split every single way. So it's just this attack from multiple fronts is really good. It doesn't matter what shield you have outside of Winston, but his low health shield. A shield can't block everywhere. Fucking... He's zoned by a goddamn Hanzo.
To just try to create more space for Philly to push forward, but they're getting the kills to put that push together anyway. So,
but
point B, another hook onto Jonak. Looks
what happened was, watch this. Libero dies to the D.Va way deep. Well, not way deep. He's in the staircase. He's a little bit overcommitted, I would say. We also see Pine doing the Pine special. So Pine's in here. Neptuno immediately pulls out the gun and tries to kill him. Fucking love you, Neptuno. But again, both of the snipers. Look, tank 1, tank 2, tank 3. Where were the DPSers? Fucking weird. So what happens when your DPS is too far away from your tanks? Hog and D.Va, they will usually kill them. The defense will come back, see Packers set up past half the point. It is. It's quite difficult. It's almost the, what do you want to call it? Watch point Gibraltar point 2. 1, 2, there's a third and a fourth choke point that they got to get through that you can pretty much see from one spot.
My genius is
so difficult to push through small choke points when the team has a range and a height advantage. There's not much you can do. But that's why it was so important that Pine got the couple picks beforehand.
Makes it tougher for New York to get ready.
Certainly does, and Jonak's been sitting on this whole hog ultimate for quite some time right now. Are they going to open with a supercharger out again? There's a Dragon Strike from EQO.
Dragon Strike, and this is really good. So the D.Va Bomb was really good because as the Orisa committed the shield, and as they're pushing in, you just kind of ult the back lines. Now, one of the answers to that, so basically if everyone's over here, Orisa commits a shield, at your face, and you devault over it. The one thing the defense or the offense could do is just push forward with everything, right? That's not a big deal. The problem is you're pushing up into triple tank. It's quite tough to deal with if you're just trying to just jump in there to get away from a D.Va ult. You're going to get killed.
That's where the punish came through with the big self-destruct play.
Right, because normally you use that Dragon Strike.
Doing their own thing on the side.
Normally use that Dragon Strike to split up the enemy team and then
yada yada yada.
But New York responding by saying, "Hey, you know what? We're just all going to jump in."
So again, I was talking about like Walter Gibraltar, 4 choke points for them to get through. It's tough. Hanzo, that's actually what's really, really difficult about Winston in the current meta. is that Hanzo can just fill you full of arrows really quick. I don't want to say lucky pick on Tracer, but Tracer recalled back into the Dragon. And if anyone's wondering why I'm not talking about the Genji and Tracer picks, again, anyone that's seen me a couple times before, I really don't care about what you're playing, I just care about how you play it.
That they are. Jonak gonna walk forward now with the whole hog, trying to keep people away from the payload. He gets Poco's mech, and will take out the main.
So we're just seeing pretty much just normal scrappy play. Let's go back. New York's doing a pretty good job here. And it's funny that their DPS are so far forward. That's normal for them. At this point, it looks like it should be a reset. In fact, I think most people thought this should be a reset. But a couple things happened. They finally put enough pressure on Pine.
And without tanks, you're not going anywhere. Nice hook on the boombox.
But we now look at what they're running. This is a full dive team. They very quickly and efficiently swap to it. And the one point you don't want to forget about dive is, well, the obvious point is that they move far very quickly. And most people just think that, oh, Hanzo, get on him. But more importantly, they come back from spawn quickly. Dive gets back from spawn. They can handle deaths better than pretty much any other comp in the game. So even though the Genji literally just got shut down, their Winston died, he's already back. They res the Zen, cool. Genji, he'll get back in time. At this point, I would say New York still have a good chance to hold. The Hog just respawned. Yes, Diva died, but they can fall back. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. But what happened is Pine, and this is the theme of this entire review. Pine, Libero's over here. That's not a big deal. Misses the hook. Dies by the second hook. Pine, I get it. He's good. He's skilled. But people catch on to your shit. He's now getting caught out alone. And since both the DPSers got killed alone, what are you going to do next? Just dive on the next target. Now is the Mercy. And at this point, DPSers, again, out far too flanking, trying to do too much on their own, get killed, and now you're just in a really bad spot. Here's the funny part. I know everyone says, uh-oh, Bridge is out. Tracer is dead. So is Genji. They should just die. They should roll over and die. I'm assuming Libero used Shield Bash to get out here. But let's just, from this first second we see him, he's not using Shield Bash. So it's at 113.
That's right. It's do or die time for New York. Okay. They've got the respawn advantage. They're very close when they come.
It's really close. But unless Pine immediately used Shield Bash when we first saw him, like he used it and he got to where he was when we first saw him, he still had a second or two to use a Shield Bash. So why didn't he? Well, he's probably trying to save it for the Tracer Genji, right? You don't just want to Shield Bash a Winston and waste it and then, Tracer comes and kill you. This is the whole problem with saying, oh, if Bridget is in the game, she counters these heroes. Because you can do shit to stop that.
But there goes Libero already. Nothing out of the Brigida yet. And Philadelphia just brawling it out on the point. Self-destruct coming in for Poco. No, Mecco.
And at this point, it's kind of Dive's game. They have the advantage in multiple scenarios. One, they have to put someone on point. Two, Dive has ultimates, and they're just going to dive on top of people, and they're all coming out of choke points. Like, it was a very, very difficult thing to overcome. I get the Bridget pick, but they just didn't run Tracer Genji into it, and it still works fine. So it started this whole teeter-totter. Replay. What starts this whole teeter-totter right here?
was a pretty...
So I would say it's about an even split here. They're going to lose that. It's going to be a 2v5. Payload is right here. They should at least have one good defense. But it's actually pretty close. The payload's closer than you think. Look, they lose this one fight.
That was a bit rough to see. They're going to get Pine anyway.
They lose one fight at that corner. And all of a sudden, they are now at a severe disadvantage because they're coming through the choke points at spawn. Also, with all the hero swaps, they're at an alt disadvantage as well. And this is dive. Like, this is kind of where dive wants to operate. Like, look, like this distance to this distance. Finding small, weak targets coming out of a choke point. Like, fucking that's perfect. But yeah. And then they all die.
And Carp certainly would be.
So overall, this is the theme we're going to see. Pine. I get people say he has a style of play. Guess what? It's the same thing I do. It's identical. Me and Pine, we have the exact same mentality. It's like when what do they say? A dog bites you or a snake bites you. Put your hand deeper in. Sometimes the safest place is deeper in. So when you're flanking, you're like, oh god, do I go back? No, flank deeper. That's why you find Pine in all these weird fucking places. In fact, when I sniped in PlanetSide 2, I did exactly what Pine does. I would snipe people from behind them. So when if there's a giant battle like 300 versus 300, and one team set up here and the other team set up here, I would sneak in and I would set up right here behind a rock or something, so that when people ran over, I would just shoot them in the back of the head. And they legitimately never found me. It's just flanking so deep that it's actually safer than what you think. So this style, I get it, that's what he does. He has the accuracy to back it up, and man, does it work. And when it works, holy shit, he shuts a team down completely. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Like, you have to put so much back at him that the front's just going to push in. So, I get it. It works. But it works until it doesn't. And Philadelphia Fusion picks up on this right away. I mean, it's obvious. Everyone knows he does it. So you're going to see a lot of divas attack him. A lot of hogs. Maybe he'll get a lot of support. Essentially, he keeps on getting picked off solo. And when Pine can't make a play, New York has a really big issue. I would almost say killing a Mercy for New York, it's almost... The only reason, if Mercy didn't res Widow, it would be better to kill the Widow almost 100% of the time than a Mercy. If Mercy doesn't have res, kill the Widow. Because without Pine, you'll be seeing they don't get a lot done. They don't got a lot of playmakers.
No, we're not there yet. Obviously, it'd be a little bit.
Does this apply to shark bites? It does not. I'm pretty sure the shark just takes your entire armor.
Idea is to park the Bastion on top of the payload in the turret form and create a strong defense, but they're going to switch off it. Of course, same thing, Jonak.
Well, Jonak has played that Bastion in the past, but they've been focusing on him on the Road Dog.
Here we go.
Lately. It's going to be
Here comes
the double sniper defense for Philly here.
Yeah, EQO is actually back in spawn.
So double sniper is going to be really popular in this map just because, again, we talked about already the wide sight lines.
Takes out Carpe early. He is in a resable place, though. That means...
That's lucky for Philly.
That is lucky, but it means also there isn't going to be a res.
Now, both snipers right here, and this is kind of what they do. I get the hog hook, all that stuff's good. But they're just looking for these very, very small angles, like right there to shoot past the barrier. And as the main team forces up and forces an engagement, this is where we're going to see the snipers start flanking.
A lot of damage coming in from Libro, but no kills out of it. Payload stalled out.
I think this is one of the most... I'll say this right now, it is probably the most... This is by far the most important thing about flanking. And it happens, it's actually identical to martial arts as well. Is whenever you see those fancy techniques or throws, you don't just throw them. You don't just go, you, go over there. The truth is you have to kind of occupy their time, you have to occupy their space, and you have to unbalance them and then throw. You have to make a connection first, somehow before you actually do that. And so with snipers and flanking in general, is you have to be engaged with the primary of the team so that something can flop around and flank. You have to have that. If there is nothing going on between the two teams and you just try to flank alone, the team goes like this. Bam, kills the one guy. That's it. Right? It's a 6v1. They're just going to turn and kill you. So, always have this engagement. Yeah. So just keep that in mind while we see this. It's direly important.
Libero's going to flank around the side right now. This is where we wait.
So, as the team's engaged, first of all, this is classic, fucking classic everything. Like Tai Chi and Tiger Boxing, they both do this exact same thing. Watch this. Pine goes, oh, I'm on the right flank. And what happens? Oh, gets shot from the left flank. So with the Reds burned early and the second and then third pick, New York has this point. At this point in time, this fight is over. So why did I say this is identical to Tai Chi? Tai Chi's a really big smartass. They're like, you want to go right? Gotta go left. You want to go up? Gotta go down? You want to go down? Gotta go up first. You know, they always say you have to do the opposite of what you want to do. And at first you're like, yeah, fuck you, Tai Chi. You're just trying to be fucking. I get it. But the truth is, if I want to push someone that way, I actually have to be on this side, right? If I want to push someone up, my elbow has to drop. And if I want to push someone down, my elbow has to raise. If I want to push someone that way, I have to go that way first. That. It's actually very literal. You're like, oh, fuck you. Not expect that out of you. And Tiger Boxing is the same thing. When you want strength, basically, if you want to find someone, if you want their strength, feign weakness. And if you want to feign weakness, essentially, back. When strength feign weakness, when weakness feign strength. So essentially, it's the whole feigning weakness is a bait, right? Oh, I'm weak here, and they go to attack it, and then you do something to deal with it. It's just common. It's just common theory. I mean, even most boxers like punch left and then punch right. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. It's the basic of all tactic and shit. Like attack one way and then attack another way. Perfect. So that's exactly what they do. Libero attacks this way. All the attention goes this way, and then they get shot from the side. It's super simple. And then again, Pine is already like twice as deep as Carpe ever was on attack, and that's because, I mean, look, he has, outside of this one piece of wood, he has free reign on the entire battlefield. Pincer? It is basically a pincer attack, but the problem is with snipers, there's no committal. So that's, I just want to sorry, pausing and talk about. Pincer attacks like, oh, let's attack this way and this way at the same time, and we'll, kill him. The thing is you usually have to commit for that. Like, someone physically has to go this way, and someone has to physically go this way. With snipers, it's like, oh, let's do a pincer attack. I'll be over here, super safe. You go over here, super safe. And then that. We don't have to commit anything, and it's easy, and it works. It's very effective. Low committal, low risk. Like, there's no reason. This is why snipers are so popular right now. Very low risk. At least if you have the skill. If you're shit at sniper, high risk, right? You can't hit your shots. It's gonna go bad. But if you're skilled, less risk. So this is that second place we see again. And so this is the point of, this is what I would think the point of Hanzo's ult is just to get people out of an established location. Whenever they're built up and they're all standing right there, Hanzo ult them, and that's what it's meant to do, just clear space. So as all this confusion goes on, Pine, again, he's already behind them. And he kills him. So again, last point and this point, Both set up completely by Pine.
Was up so they could pull the tanks back into it. Defensive Matrix not there to either eat the Dragon Strike or the halt.
I guess you could say the Dragon Strike opened it, but as the Dragon Strike happened, Pine was already behind them.
Defense possible before the end of this point from the Philadelphia Fusion.
True enough. Pine trying to cover that entrance for New York.
So this is actually one of the few times. So again, it's the Wall Point Gibraltar Point 2 problem, is that they got so many small choke points to go through. As the team all comes out this way, which makes sense, we're going to see, where's Meko? There's Meko. He's going to ult over the top. Pine actually won't get at very good angles here. But this is the drawback of single healer. We're going to see right when, watch these guys' health right when D.Va Bomb goes out. Boombox, basically dead. Sato, basically dead. Boombox heals up, Sato dies. As they pressure in, look how low health everyone is. Mercy is stuck back here nursing the tanks, while the snipers are trying to do what they can with no healing.
They've got that supercharger, so damage around the Orisa ultimate is buffed right now.
So Neptuno, while he did, he's rezzing. So one thing about res guys, Mercy's not healing. So we still see everyone low health. Even if the res comes out, Poco bites the dirt. As they try to jump on the point to stop the cart, everyone's already at half health.
So Carpe trying to bring things back. Jonak staying alive with the breather. Next to the point right now, wants to keep it moving. Nice hook on EQO, still alive, but there we go.
Now that the tanks are dead, everyone's forced on point. And, well, this team comp isn't going to survive with those pieces missing and being forced on point. So that one, all done by Meko. I really liked it. It's true that the snipers kind of pinned the team in at first, and then Meko ulted over the top, but it was a very good D.Va Bomb. And they kept up the pressure so they couldn't heal because of the single healer.
Difficult to get all the way through point C here on Junkertown. You can see the Infrasight up right now. Pine using it to aggressively peek on the snipers, and he pushes them into the Dragon Strike.
So, they actually talked about this. They did a good job. They're like, oh, Infrasight, they all just sat right there, and then they Hanzo ulted to get the damage done. It was a little bit, I didn't understand the whole hog. I think it was a little bit overcommittal of resources.
Yeah, you can see what happened.
But as is how Pine works. Pine's already back here.
With Philadelphia, they were slowly corralled because they knew Pine could see them. And as soon as they were stuffed into the corner, that's when the whole hog and Dragon Strike came out, gave them a lot of free room to move this payload.
So Carpe gets a pick. We really can't see it too well what happened. We're watching Liberal. I really wish I could have seen how they got those picks. But with the Mercy pick, you got single healer. You're done.
Pine has to reset. So now Philadelphia Fusion going to walk
Hold on.
forward.
Mercy got picked there, right? Okay, yeah, she already respawned. It's like, I'm not seeing shit, am I?
It definitely is. Arc dies. With his Valkyrie up, Pine has to reset. So now, Philadelphia Fusion going to walk forward, try and take control of these narrow hallways.
Yep, and it's that same shit, man. Same shit. Narrow choke points to get through. 4 narrow choke points to get through to get to the point.
Here on Junkertown.
Right. Here's where when you have that big time bank for the attacker.
Also, you want to push up just so, one, the flankers the attackers get less flanks to push on. Remember, when defending, whenever you fall back, you're exposing flanks. That's how all Overwatch maps work. The farther and farther you get back, the more opportunities the attackers will get to go around you.
So they're going to try to do. Carpe has the ultimate available. Self-destruct thrown in, gets the super.
So this is the best part about all of this.
Through the air.
Alright, good shot. Who is this outline? Who has this long, flowy hair and a fucking sniper rifle? It's Pine! Legit what I did in PlanetSide 2.
Kill on Mano. It's like a trick shot, man. He shot right through that.
Yeah, he did.
He's super deep, and as soon as people find him, he just grappled up here.
To use the Valkyrie, but he's not going to get the resurrection.
And he got killed.
Time before Pine dies.
So Pine died. Look, and they did have the res. Here's the thing, like this. Look, this wasn't the best attack. I'll give you that.
Charger.
But Orisa died here. This is a very, very easily like resable spot. There's no real big threat.
It's like a trick shot, man. He shot right through that.
So as the res comes out,
also gonna have to use the Valkyrie, but he's not
Pine's dead.
gonna get the resurrection.
This push is done.
Pine dies.
Mano's up at least.
Yeah, Valkyrie not.
So it could have been a push.
NYXL.
And if we just look at it, he died, let's say, at 258.
Right by supercharger. Has the ultimate available. It's a self-destruct thrown in, gets the supercharger. Onto Mono. Finds the kill. Onto Mono. It's like a trick shot.
So we'll say when the res is when they could have attacked again.
Also gonna have to use the Valkyrie, but he's not
So at
gonna
3.
get the resurrection in time before Pine dies.
And we can see the exact amount of time Pine's death will actually cost.
NYXL.
You know Neptune only pops that ultimate to go chase people with his blaster anyway.
Oh yeah,
So
that's absolutely
that's
true.
okay,
He's the
yeah.
deadliest Mercy in the league.
Yeah. So scary Mercy. It's well deserved. He's gotten a lot of kills.
So we're at 20 seconds?
NYXL had to use 2 ults though, the self-destruct and the Valkyrie, to try and get through that choke point. They don't get.
Also, here's the other deal, is that they already did a bunch of work to push through that point, and now they have to redo that work. That's, I think, something that's not really focused on. They did a lot of work to even open up that choke point and get to that far, and with the reset, they lost all of that distance again.
Progress at all. Pine still
So here we go, they finally have another attack.
Open this up with a
Let's just say right now, 228. So for 32 seconds, Pine's death cost.
They need room to get through these hallways.
Dragon Strike comes.
So that was a good ult denial by Diva. Meko got that ult. That probably would have killed the push. Hog had to jam the choke point
Only a temporary fix.
just to try to recover from it.
Res, though, but taken out again by Jonak.
And here they go. They finally burst out of the corner. Snipers get the flanks, and now things start opening. Once the flanks fall, you have to fall back with the midpoint. So if you ever just want to know how stuff works, everyone was defending here. And that's great for when everything's in front of you. But as soon as stuff starts flanking you, you now have to reset this. This has to fall back. You're out of position, you have to get back, you have to do something. And that's a good point to attack, and that's exactly when they do. Philly has to reposition, and they're going to get killed, and they did get killed. And you can still see the remnants of it here. Like, yep. So they should have heard Pine walking, but I think if you ever hear the comms in the game, everyone's screaming way too much to hear high heels.
I mean, one thing is a fact in the Overwatch League. You know,
So while Diva just did die, she stalled the cart the entire time.
time that are like unchangeable unless you're Tracer, really. But the other thing that's a constant is that Pine will always be behind you with his sniper rifle.
Now, here comes the next flank. Again, Pine flanking. He could be trying to put damage on the team right now. I guess there is a shield, so he's looking for a way around the shield.
Other times, Pine will die, and that'll reset the entire fight. But here he comes.
Like, this is where they should hear it.
Trying to stay
He doesn't shoot there, he gets this kill. So, yeah. Like, he does get a kill. He does flank. He does kind of open up the point currently. At this point, I would say definitely New York's advantage. Probably going to cap the point. And whenever you think of that, and it doesn't happen, that is something you need to focus on. So Neptuno gets the res off. And as they're fighting, Hanzo... First of all, Hanzo picked off Pine. And even though Hanzo's going to die here, this ult right here. Hog... Or here's Hog. There's Orisa. I believe Diva's on the other side of it. Here's Hanzo. Here's Mercy. Widow was rezzed on this side. So as this ult hits, look at how they split. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, right? That's smart. The team splits. The problem is they split all DPS one side, all tanks the other. As soon as this happened, look what happened. tank. You just saw D.Va go at him. Everyone is focusing this way. They get the Hanzo. They demech the D.Va. Widow's still trying to get back to her team. Gets sniped. Whole hog just to get everyone out of the choke point. Point is saved. It was an incredibly good, like, it was a good Dragon Strike, but what I liked about it better was the execution on the team. Is as soon as things were split, they immediately killed them. And then that hook right there, almost sealed the fate. But guess what they can do to get into this? I bet Pine can flank. Nope. D.Va is on his ass before he can even think about flanking. And that's how they secure this first point. It was really good. They essentially shut down Pine. Pine got pretty greedy. He got really greedy. So that's kind of the... It's a simple game. A lot of simple things happen. Like, there was good play. I mean, it was good play all around. But New York got caught doing risky shit. And it's good that it works sometimes and you can win games. And it got them this far in the Overwatch series, so why would you ever stop? The problem is it didn't work. And the scary thing is that no one picked. I don't want to say they didn't pick up on it. They're going to try to do it again. So it's like, all right, New York has to start to be like, all right, maybe we shouldn't play super flanky with Pine. I know they got, what is it, Sabioli? I think he comes out later. They can do other things, but
my
on that game they didn't.
Recognized.
And so now this next one, there's two things they do differently. One, Philly's super aggressive, and whenever you have super aggression, it actually gets very, very telegraphed. And it's at a certain point, it almost gets easier to deal with if you're skilled enough. And two, we're going to see Pine not go crazy.
And you know what?
Get out of here, Tracer.
Overall, compared to New York, overall, a little bit of Reinhardt Zarya for both teams here.
So here we go. Brigitte, Lucio, Moira, triple tank against Hanzo, Farah, Reinhardt Zarya.
New York trying to tie things up. Looks like
So
it's gonna be a little bit of Reinhardt Zarya for both teams here.
Right here is where I would say, I'm like, all right, New York is a really good team. Because they saw what was happening. Like right there, Reinhardt's like, everyone get the fuck out. And look how far back the rest of New York is. Like if New York was pushing out normally, this would have killed them. But see, they're already really far back. They're already nice and safe. No one dies. No one dies. That's very, very good from New York's part.
Into their spawn room almost.
Libero
on the point right now on that Farah.
It's stupid to joke about, but that right there was probably one of the best plays in this entire series. It seems subtle, and it's not very flashy, but it's just like, it's fucking good. It's just solid. It's smart, it was quick, it was efficient, it saved the team. Look, they're going to try to do it again. Janus, very nice attempt. And while they get ults and they're getting damage done, the point's not taken yet, it's not a big deal. They're just kind of weathering the storm. They do have the stronger heal count. And I was
not quite there, so no kills out of that one, and they may have all charged for that one.
I was looking at this and I'm like, all right, they got the Reinhardt kill, and there's a really big concept in Overwatch League right now where they're just like, oh man, you have to chase and you have to get those kills. You have to get on them and build up your ult and punish them for these bad plays. The problem is that as you commit more, you have more to lose. That's why snipers are so good, right? We even see it in the meta. Snipers have to commit little to nothing to get a kill, to win the game. That's it. There's super little committal. But now when you're like, let's take these 5 heroes and throw them over there. Yeah, get them all done. Let's build that all charge and chase. And you're like, wait. That's really, really heavy committal. In fact, as a martial artist, the entire point of martial arts is essentially forcing enough, like getting a lot of force out without sacrificing your root and overcommitting something. Just that's basically the balance of that. That's all you gotta do, and you're good. So the more you lean, the more you commit, the more your ass is going to get thrown, and the more they're going to take advantage of it. And that's why with the Lucio, why it is good, and he can use speed to get around. If someone's moving this way at 1,000 miles an hour, I can tell you what they're going to do in 2 seconds. They're going to go that way at 1,000 miles an hour still. And that's kind of what happens to Fusion. It's like, look at us, we're super fast, we're doing all this cool stuff, and it's like, cool. You're kind of predictable. In fact, you're incredibly predictable. And as you risk, if we have one thing to turn it around, you're going to lose it all. Because you're risking so much. When you say snipers, do you think of more Widow or Hanzo? I would say Widow, but I still consider Hanzo... he has very low commitment. He can just fire out a shot and turn away and not worry about it. Widow as well. They both don't... They can stay very far away. They don't have to commit their physical self close to the target to kill them. So that's what I mean by low commitment. But when you're going this quick and you're trying to do all this stuff and you're committing with the whole team, expect things when they go wrong to go wrong really fucking bad. Yeah, if you hit, you're going to hit big, but if you miss, you're going to miss. And here we see, well, they had their Moira ult, used it, got 20% back already. Zarya's almost at 100%. You have to understand...
My genius is finally recognized.
Well, if I got a lot of ult, their team probably has a lot of ult too. And as they commit heavy, they get nothing. They don't have the damage to follow this up, and all of a sudden they're in a linear hallway with a dragon shooting down their throat, and they're toast. So while I get you want to pressure and you want to kill people as soon as you get an advantage, understand that you're going to die if things aren't going the way in your head. In fact, if things are usually going perfectly the way you designed them to be, something's up. Meaning the enemy knows and they're about to do something that's going to kill you.
Philly still bullies their way to nearly 30% of the points.
You know, they got a good start, but that was rough to watch, man. They have the point under control, and they just got a little bit too big-eyed about their chances.
So when you're being this quick and this committed with so much hit points, basically the 3 tanks, 1 ult, 2 ult, 3 ults, 4 ults. I think there's like 5 ults there, all the support ults. When you start throwing away this much hit points, expect a lot of ults to happen in the game. In fact, when you're playing this very fast Lucio-based style, just expect yourself to get ulted like crazy. It should also be noted that Libero, they're running a Farah. This map, as soon as they took a point, is super good for Farah. Yeah, they go to attack, they shoot down a dragon down the choke point. Super easy, bam.
New York just putting Philly between a rock and a magical dragon arrow place. I don't know, how do you describe that? What is the technology there?
I have no idea, Noah.
Maybe it's just magic. I mean, we do have hyper-intelligent hamsters and wrecking balls now, so anything is possible.
Hey, that's explained by science,
That
Noah.
is true.
So,
Unethical science.
this is less about Philly doing... Like, I think Philly's playing this correctly, It's just that New York has a really, really good lead on them. So again, they all dive in. Farah. So people that don't know, this isn't the case, but right now, if someone's discorded and they give her the rocket, it's 155, 156. But if they're getting Mercy damage boosted, it does 202 damage because it's multiplicative. I made up a word there. It's 120 times 1.3, and since then that it actually gets multiplied by 1.3. So it's not 120 times 60%, which would be, I think, 198. Plus calculator. Bam! We're high tech. You do that again? Bam. But if you do 120 times 1.6, 192. Why does this matter? 200 hit point threshold. One-shot kills on the squishies. Now, I believe you would see the Mercy icon there. Sorry, I was talking about numbers. So, as they commit super hard, just look at New York's positioning. Look how far back they are. Yeah, Reinhardt's at center point. Zarya's behind him. Pine's behind that. Jonak's behind that. Farah and Mercy are up in the air. Alright, they all jump on the point immediately. Like, that was quick. Guys, this is really quick. One 1,000, 2 1,000. In 2 seconds, they went from here all the way to on their side of the map. Very quickly. Neptuno takes too much damage, though. And notice how they just fall back. Everyone just falls back. One thing you have to understand, when people put force onto you, you cannot resist this. So this is typical Sun Tzu type shit. And I explained it with the chair. I explained it a bunch with the chair. But if something's strong, like if something's designed to be strong a specific way, like, I don't know, 3 tank, 3 support, and it's strong this way, don't fight it head on. It's designed to be strong that way. Don't do it. You're probably going to lose if you try to do that, and you're going to whine about maybe you picked the wrong heroes, or maybe someone didn't do what they were supposed to do, but the truth is, tactically, you just did something fucking dumb. So they do exactly that. As they get pushed, they allow themselves to get pushed. They don't resist it. In fact, they all fall back, they go different ways. They spread out essentially this way, and back straight back, and back to the left, and back to the right. It was pretty well done. And all of a sudden, this big speed push, it kind of stops here. And then all of a sudden, both of the teams are looking at each other, and the big strength behind the speed boost is gone. And now things can happen. I can't say what can happen, but things can happen at that point. And the defenders at that point are in a lot better situation than it would if they just try to straight up resist it. Because they would definitely lose. So, what do they get by backing up? Well, they're living. Oh, sorry. They're living long. That's the big thing. Everyone's alive. And when you're alive, things can happen. I can't be like, oh yeah, you back up and then you Zarya ult him, because you can't really depend on the Zarya ult, but in this case, that's what happened. Also, it should be noted, Janice, watch this. 41%. At, they don't got a clock here, damn it. But 56? Cool, that's great. 80? Whoa, where the hell did that come from? What, 100? Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, that was a really fast build-up. Again, when you're moving really quick, you become telegraphed, and you can be manipulated easily.
He can cut it off that doorway with a storm of rockets. They're going to play back, though. Hoppa coming up on a big ultimate here from the Zarya. Another dragon.
So, that was just... He just put up a wall. At this point, I don't even consider this... New York has won this at this point in time to me.
But Philadelphia doesn't look like they
Fusion's already at deficit, just trying to force themselves on the point. Coming through a choke point. There's just a lot of things that New York's having an issue, or Philly's having an issue with right now. So, yep, they took it.
New York goes up 1-0. Every time Philadelphia Fusion tried to get in, there was a Dragon Strike waiting for them, and those picks are so consequential when you're not running a Mercy to resurrect one of your teammates. You just find yourself down in that 5 versus 6.
So, very good play. And here's the thing. Pine didn't do any insane flanks. He didn't do really any insane plays on that one. I think this is where New York can truly win. They're a good team. They're skilled players, and they're smart, and they can do things properly. I think if they did that more often in the series, I think they would have won it. I mean, it went to Game 5, if anyone doesn't know. It went all 5 games. It was a good series, and I would say they just barely lost. So I think if they just played a little bit more conservative with Pine, and they just played good Overwatch, they would actually have won. Yeah. I just seen a lot of stuff on Comp Overwatch and just tweets and random shit where they're just like, man, New York got rolled. And it's like, fuck, man, watching a different game than I did because they put up a pretty damn good fight. People talk about picks, don't care about picks. To me, it's all about the tactics. It was a very big mind switch from game to game. It's like, all right, we're going to try this crazy, flanky type shit. And it usually works for us, but it didn't. And then the second game, we'll see what Lijiang, they're just like, all right, let's play super stable and good. Bam. I think that's the way they need to be playing. But let's continue.
Got a chance to take the map and tie the series here on Night Market. They're going to go for triple tank, 2 support, and just Widowmaker for Pine.
Getting on point first, pretty important. Now the enemy is subjected to the choke points. The noticeably weird pick is Carpe and Doomfist. Oops, really missed that one.
My genius is
Everything
finally
else
recognized.
looks pretty standard. I like... So the Farah pick, it's good. It's good on defense. It sucks on attacking. So this is kind of... You're sacrificing a little bit on the attack, like taking the point, just to have a very good defense. It's not good or bad, it's just that's what they want.
Clustered players. Carpe.
Oh boy. On the Doomfist.
So they're kind of giving up a lot of space, a lot of time. No one's really finding any angles. And here's the scary thing. If you look at this team, and you look at this team, I do not want to give a Widow any more time than she needs. The more time she has to walk around and try to look for an angle, the higher chance you have of just losing a person randomly. It's dangerous to give Widow time, let alone an extremely talented one.
New York will see the Doomfist. They see it now.
So we see Farah and Doomfist both going for this Lucio, and they all miss. Everyone misses everything on Lucio. With the DPSers just kind of more or less taken care of. They actually take the point quite easy. I was actually trying to look at it. You really can't get a good view on it. But the Farah was trying to get more shots onto the corner. They were all in, but just like nothing happened. Assuming Diva. No, they don't have a Diva. I'm just not. I really wish I could have seen the fight better. But I wanted to see what the Widow's actions were. And here we go. The Winston's just like, fuck it. If I control Pine, I control the game. He has a point.
Carpe did make that swap over the Widowmaker. Now they ditched the Doomfist, but it might be a little bit too late. New York trying to defend here. Giannis again.
So here's a really cool play, and I don't know if New York did it on purpose or not. This is actually one of the smartest plays ever. Not ever, but pretty good play. When we talk about it on stream a lot, one of the big weaknesses to flanking is that it takes time. And so we do see a shot right here. So we know a Widow's here. we can see the shots coming in from the Farah, so she's up here. And while all this is true, right here they get insight from Pine. So at this point, all of their assumptions, well, you can see it. So now they see the Widow. They can see everything happen. And look, Farah, Mercy, Winston, D.Va, Widow, I believe, Moira is invisible right around here.
It's always hammer time with Rhino.
So, flanking takes time. And what does that mean? It means as everyone's going around and trying to flank, especially with Infrasight up, they can see it. Just push the fucking lower numbers in. It's super simple. If someone's flanking this way with 3 people, and flanking this way with 3 people, and you have 6 people, stop playing defense, you play offense, take 6 people, you will kill the 3 people, and then you kill the other 3. It's really simple. And so that's what they do. Where the fuck's everyone at? Oh, whoa, there's everyone, and then they die. So by pushing out and getting those kills, essentially killing the Moira and putting pressure out there, the flank was essentially completely worthless. The Farah tried to get in there quick enough to make the flank pay off, but it just took too much extra time.
This looks like it should be a mini game in the Overwatch arcade right there. Yeah, run from the Reinhardt.
And I'm pretty sure with the Infrasight, they saw that and it was an actual conscious choice. So good plan, New York's part.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Not worth the 7% perhaps. Nice shield slam on the Sato. He's in trouble. The rally comes in from Libero. Everybody getting that extra armor. Sound barrier for New York as well. They are all powered up to fight this fight.
And this is the alt fight.
Meanwhile, Carpe does find the shot onto Pine. So will be a 6v5.
So as the alts go off, the bigger story is Carpe killing Pine.
He's going to go for the charge onto Sato.
And that essentially hands over control of the courtyard. So we see a lot of people here, and we see Carpe get a second kill. This is the big thing. Once he killed Pine, he has free reign of all of this area. And with 1, 2, 3, 4 people here and another 2 people dead, there's little to nothing to contest them. Also, if we look at the team, Pine just went to Widow. Shonak can't really contest the Widow. Lucio can't really contest it. These guys sure as hell can't contest it. Essentially, they have no way to reach out and deal with the Widow.
He's going to go for the charge on Sato, nails him, but doesn't do enough damage. Now EQO getting Meko and Jonak. Looking for that 3K, but no, Sato there to steal it.
7-point EQO's Farah's really bad? I don't really care about that.
Here on Night Market.
It's not something that really concerns me. So this is the big fight. And the commentator, usually I hate these guys, but they make a good point. They say the right thing.
Ooh, Carpe in a lot of trouble now. Pine had swapped to the Tracer, as we can see. Trying to make Carpe's life miserable as best he can. EQO.
So with the Widow swapped off of because it's a Tracer, Farah has a little bit of a free reign. While D.Va and Winston can kind of deal with her to a certain extent, they can't do it for an extended period of time. That was a good shot right there.
And what a comeback it would be on this round for them to go from basically 0. They were at around 7% and bring it all the way back.
But now the Farah has free reign because the Widow was swapped off. And now because the Farah is doing so good, they got to go back to Widow.
Carpe did get a little bit of revenge there, it looked like, but New York still on the outside.
It's not that good. It's on the ground a lot.
This round, Philadelphia Fusion
it doesn't really bother me if he is or isn't. It doesn't matter if he's on the ground a lot. It matters, like, is it a tactical advantage to being on the ground, or is it good to be on the ground, yada, yada, yada.
Send Meko up at him, but get the kill. Oh dear, Pine throws out the Venom Mine, but
so this is good pressure on the Widow.
Line up the Widowmaker shots. Hugo needs to be careful though. Knows where Pine is.
Look how many ultimates Philadelphia Fusion have.
And they're just keeping space. They're just buying time for the last fight.
That's right, Philly getting closer.
So, very good. I really like this on Fusion's part. The Winston jumped out at them, and he has ult, so he can pretty much do it and with no fear. As that happened, they throw out the D.Va bomb to try to allow Winston to set something up, to try to get a good kill. As this happens, Janus jumps in, and it looks like he wants to try to get his ult really quick. He's like, oh, I can get that really quick. But he gets bursted down instantly. Now, at this point, Pine's out there, because everyone jumped in here. Pine's out there doing his thing. Very good pick from Carpe to Libero. But more importantly, while this is a little bit crazy happening on the point, this Winston, the Winston that first went out there, he hasn't used his ult yet. And now he's just keeping the Zen busy, and he was keeping the Widow busy. But Pine being Pine, I don't know if you guys can read that. That's Pine. He actually does it right here. When the Winston jumps on him, him and the Zen. Oh, damn, he already jumped up there. Where was it at? It actually happens earlier than you think. Right there. As the Winston jumps in to deal with the Zen, Pine goes up top and splits it, so he can't harass both. He gets a couple good shots off, but that's about it. He can't get a whole lot. Right there you saw D.Va shoot at him, so he's like, Widow's up above in the window. Farah doing what she does, puts pressure on her in that one, and Pine dies there. So it was really good on his part. It was just good play there. That's just good. Like the Winston on the Zen and the Widow forcing. So in a sparring match or a fight, it's not about who's better. It's about who makes less mistakes. And the more decisions you make someone make, the higher chance they have of making a mistake. So sometimes it's not if a play is right or wrong. It's that if a play forces the enemy to make a tough choice, they have a chance of making the wrong choice. Or if they make the right choice, you have something to capitalize on. That's the key of it. Don't think about just killing a person. Like, just don't think about taking out a hero. Think about making a choice to make that hero make some very difficult choices. And from there, essentially, you're looking for control rather than just taking the hero out. So, this was looking like a cool fight, but Farah does stuff. Not really much to say about that.
And Philadelphia Fusion put themselves in prime position to get their control percent rolling early here.
I forgot to say on the last point as well at the end, there's a concept of having the right tool for the right job. Sorry to go back a little bit.
Venom mind, but when New York is going to have to fight this one 5v6, they get the res off somehow. Animo gets in there.
But the right tool for the right job. We see D.Va fighting in range, the Winston fighting in range. The Winston fighting the Zen out here, which is like a matchup advantage. And then we see the Widow up close. And I know Pine's really good and he can fight up close, but it's the idea of we have our close range heroes fighting close range. They have close range heroes out here fighting close range against our. Or we have our close range heroes fighting their more like I would consider Zen more of a long range type hero. He doesn't want people up in his face. The Widow is forced up close. There's just this very simplistic idea of, hey, use the right tool for the right job, keep it at the right distance, stuff like that. When the hand is forced to play differently, it can still work with skill, with Pine, obviously. But it does have a chance of backfiring, like, I don't know, a rocket fight hitting you in the face. I mean, it can definitely work, but it can definitely not work as well. What if Pine hit every headshot? I can't argue with that. I can't. That is a true statement.
If that's what the proverbial they say, we'll go with it. Meanwhile, Philly trying to hold here. New York pressuring a bit. And Libero firing from the outside. It's hard to take the point with this far. It's easier to defend it. A little bit of air to air.
This is all standard play. They're just fighting for space here.
Now, Libero takes a shot. One more and has to escape.
Ikio
has that barrage.
does some... It was a good shot there, and then this barrage is very good.
Janice really low. He goes in, gets the kill. He saw
What's really good about this one is that... Remember what I said, if there's like an entrance like this, and the Farah's above it, and she shoots down, essentially you can hit people that no one else, like, they can't hit you at all. And that was so good about this barrage. Is that, look, Jonak has a very, very tough angle right here. Yeah, Meko and Winston, well, Winston already died, but everyone over here, like, they can't shoot you. It's a very safe ult, and then it was a good play to look away to avoid the self-damage.
And he got it. Meko flies into him. EQ turns away right away. Perfect barrage. Can't believe he survived that, but New York striking back. John is brought back to the fray. They get the D-Mech on the hop, but Sato responding, though. He's got that primal rage.
So, Sato doing good Winston stuff. He gets a lot of good kills.
So just when you think Philly's gonna
But
get up, Sato comes in with the
the two tanks take the point. And the DPS.
anyway, but Philadelphia, it seemed like they were coming out ahead in that fight.
Yeah, it did it first, but they committed a lot of members to that back line.
And now it's a very weird scruffle.
They might be able to retake it.
Yeah, can't get back to his healers in time. That's going to force the resurrection from Animo.
And New York is going to do this thing where...
Want to get that control percent back up
So
and moving.
one of the big deals about Winston D.Va as a combo is they both essentially have one-ups. Right, Winston gets full health and 1,000 health at that. D.Va legitimately gets a one-up. She gets a new mech. They can stall for extended periods of time, not just because of their health pool, but because they also have damage mitigation abilities with Bubble and Defensive Matrix. And on top of that, they have a Mercy just constantly healing them.
That's the plan anyway.
At this point, it looked like Fusion should have gotten the point. There's just basically two tanks on point and a Mercy.
Philadelphia back on the point. They want to get that control percent back up and moving.
That's the plan anyway. 20% for New York. Making some progress already. Carpe, no help.
So, New York gets off the point to kill the people off the point. They start suffering trades. But the problem is that New York just stayed on the point with their tanks long enough and stalled it out for them to get the courtyard control, which gave them the point control.
Philadelphia is going to regroup and come around the opposite.
This is a common tactic in Overwatch, and being able to do it is good. It's something I think the better teams need to do. I like this one. That D.Va, or not the D.Va, the Farah Blast is hilarious.
He's had so many here in the playoffs, and Philly trying to swap it back. They've nearly got it. Libero got a couple kills there, so maybe New York can hold on to this one. Pops a barrage, but no.
Good old Bubble.
Ready for him. They blocked it with a lot of shielding.
So here we go again.
Flying away. Meanwhile, it's Hotba on the point right now. And we'll see.
D.Va stalling on point. When D.Va dies, the Winston comes in. All this is doing is it's forcing the DPS and other tanks on the point, while Pine does Pine stuff and just kills people on the side. So you look at, I don't know if anyone saw this, and I don't know if it was meant to do this. Winston jumps off the point. It can't have been planned. Like, Mercy gets on the point to stop the D.Va from capturing it. Because, I mean, look, they have to take, that's gotta be, like, half a second, maybe a second to cap it. And the Mercy bought time. As the Mercy jumps off, the Winston jumps in again. It's really good. Like, that was very smooth. I don't even know if that... I don't think that something like that could be communicated. It was that well done.
Get the finish, 90% now from New York, and look at this, Philly responding again. This is one of those crazy extended fights like what we saw at the end of Dorado on Wednesday.
So, the Widow does die, but here's the thing. Since the Widow died first, as the tanks come on point, there's no damage outside of the point coming onto the point. Right, it'd be one thing if the tanks were on the point and the tank died, but the DPS was still alive outside the point, killing people. They take out the DPS first, so the tanks really can't stall for anyone to save them.
One, perhaps two, if New York's lucky. More fights here, but it's going to come down to the very end. Perhaps another 99-99.
I think it's likely. Oh, another air to arrow to it. EQO.
Good job on EQO's part.
Winning that far of Farah.
Fucking phenomenal shot
Oh no.
by Pine.
Where you were, Hotba. Dodges that self-destruct. Meko using that crucial ultimate, but New York does have full support ultimates. Philly does too. Pine and Carpe fighting it out. It's been back and forth the entire time. 8 HP for Pine, and Carpe comes in with a melee.
Carpe wins the duel.
Winning another 1v1. We're into OT. 99-99 to decide. Lijiang
Stick
Tower
doesn't get anything.
goes in, no kills out of that one. Animo pops a Mercy ultimate. Philly holding on to theirs. There's Boombox with his. Now Jonak with the kill into EQO. New York
So nothing
back. They've got a chance to tie up the series.
crazy to happen here. But the big thing here is that New York takes the point right there. Maybe the Zen could have jumped on point to stall it. But the problem is, and it's a balance of competing demands, it could be a right or a wrong response. But New York has it now, and so Philly is forced on the point, especially at the last second. And we're going to see D.Va jump in here as well. And now with D.Va and Winston here, there's nothing protecting their squishies. So they had to get on here to get the point, and this is the advantage of owning the point at that point. Both of their supports died. And from there, you're going to chip them out and take the point.
If they can force Philly off, they can win this one easily. Sato down, a chance for Nyxl, but the self-destruct coming in. No kills out of that one. OT ticking.
So they get it. Overall, just a lot better game than Junkertown, and they did it by not having Pine do ridiculous shit all the time. Get out of here, commentators. These fucking guys. Oh, now we're going to see... I think this is the infamous map that everyone was kind of talking about. They're just like, oh shit. Because, I mean, Philly just did good shit.
Comps that get in and brawl on objectives at close range.
Right on, well, here we go. Philly attacking with
So remember when we talked about corners? This happens in King's Row a lot. Essentially, just wherever there's strength, just go around it. That's what they do. You go this way or this way, you can go this way. But basically, don't fight this fucking thing head on. And this entire first point comes down to that. Right there. I'm not sure why Janice jumped left.
On the Mercy. New York with a similar look, only Libero on the Junkrat.
But that separated him from his team, which gets him killed. It gets Hanzo his ult. Don't ask me, but it does.
Didn't do the damage. They were able to dodge it, but they were pinned in, and EQO just...
And now that they try to get out of this incredibly tight quarters area, down their main tank is just tough. They're just going to lose it.
Philadelphia's got a pretty strong start here on A.
Wow, Jonas got massively separated from the rest of the NYXL. Everyone else on the Excelsior
I'm not
rotating behind the hotel.
I'd actually have to. I think you would have to personally ask Janice, like, what his thought was, and it probably was he didn't really have a thought. He was just trying to dodge something, and he went to the left, and it just at the exact same time, everyone saw it and took advantage of it.
Give up the point easily with a well-coordinated attack from the Philadelphia Fusion, who sensed that weakness in Jonas' positioning.
That was fast. And New York's got to be a little bit worried. They are 10-1 on this map overall in Overwatch.
So here's normal pokage.
One of their best maps. 5-6 for Phillies.
This is one of my favorite points right here. Oh, that's a fucking... Yeah, fuck that. Yep, I'm not dealing with that close range.
Super early, Philadelphia Fusion backs off until that ultimate goes away, so no support ultimate from the Mercy now possible.
So by the way, this little thing will not work. EQO is getting a 50% damage boost.
Dragon Strike. Oh, catches does quite a bit of damage to Meko as well. And now
it's a good, first of all, it's a good ult. Because, I mean, it sucks that the guy survives there for a second. But it essentially just removes this part of the battlefield. And now this Reinhardt's alone. So they put pressure on the lone target. Killed the tank.
just kind of dividing the team. So
Carpe's flank. Now that's another corner. That's good for Widow.
Like how London plays. At that time, Jonas was just carved off from the rest of his team. His supports were on the other side of those twin dragons swimming through King's Row. Nothing he could do, stuck on that run.
And here's the one point where it's like, all right, I would say if Carpe was any other hero, this wouldn't have happened.
I mean, it's been a blazing fast time so far for Philly. If they can keep this up, it'll be crazy. Self-destruct.
Sato takes a shit ton of damage there. Essentially, they're going to be at a main tank disadvantage. In fact, they lose their main tank and their diva. But Carpe, 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and 4 shots. He takes 3 people down. He doesn't get the kill here, but he did do 119 damage to her. So that was one of the times I was like, that was skill. Every now and then you see a lot of good teamwork, but on some points you will see a person come through when they're at a disadvantage and get the team like some monumentous event. That's something like that. Pine does it a lot, but because he always goes for those, he's looking for those events.
And he still does stuff that makes me say I can't believe it. This guy is incredible.
119 damage. I know he did 119 damage because he did 63 fire from it, so he did 119.
Oh, Libero going aggressive. He's going below, and that might be something Philly's not expecting.
And then this play, I get what he was trying to do, but check this out. We already talked about it once this broadcast. Flanking takes time. So we saw the Reinhardt push up the center right there, right? We saw him for a split second. Right there's the Reinhardt. And
onto Jonak this time. Oh, Libero going aggressive. He's going below.
I'm looking for Sabiolbi is over here, I believe. So, as the Reinhardt's going straight up the center, the Widow and the Farah are flanking and they're not getting out damage. So, they just kill the center. And the flank takes so long that his team dies. I've said it on Lijiang. If one person's flanking this way, another person's flanking this way, and they're trying to defend with 4 people here, take your 6 and kill the 4. And then worry about the single ones after. This is just unfortunate that he couldn't get the last kill. And this is actually the worst possible outcome, is that he went super deep. This took so much time and got nothing, and the worst part is he lived. They know you're back there, Farah. What are you hiding from? So it's just a very high, heavy stagger. At this point, it's done and over with. This bad flank did lead to a lot, but it should be noted, again, the Widow pick opens this entire thing up. There's the Widow, there's the pick. As the pick happened, the Reinhardt was already too deep. So, look, res takes time. The time that he was resing him, his Reinhardt went in alone with no support. Mercy's resing the other support. They have the Zarya. She was flanking. Getting resurrected, resurrecting. It was a 2v6 on the point. It was just bad coordination. That's all. It happens. But we saw him lose. So kids, when you're flanking, be very careful. Just be fucking careful. Flanking takes time. If your team is trying to engage while you're flanking, like they're attacking, they're not just keeping... I guess it should be noted. I did talk about... So I did say whenever you're flanking, you want your teams to be engaged. But you don't want your team to be committed. Right? Because if the teams aren't engaged and they're just kind of at that poke phase, if you flank, the 6 will just turn and kill the 1. But if you're overcommitted and you're flanking, you're behind, essentially you're behind the attack, you're slow, they're just going to crush the center. You kind of want this stalemate going on while you're flanking. That way all parties involved are busy. That's the big thing. They're busy, and when things are busy, one, it gives you less attention, and two, it kind of sticks them where they're at. Like if I go to push on someone, and I push them properly, I'm not trying to push them away, I'm trying to push them down into the ground. So I'm trying to solidify them being at that spot. Essentially, it limits their movement. That's why you want to have people busy while you're playing.
NYXL got 3 eliminations on that. Just saw a noodle attack.
Been the most one top 3. That is. He's gonna.
Like that's. It's gonna be. So
this defense. I was actually hoping for this defense.
Libero will be playing
Jonak going for the cheeky.
Now we did see Jonak on
Bam! Almost got him. Oh, he did get him actually. He got EQO.
Did come in, didn't really connect the way he wanted it to. Meanwhile, Savior will be getting subtle low. Janice with the kill. Carpe does get Janiso in time. EQO takes on Ark and oh,
so Carpe, he actually fights a very weird positioning with Widow here.
So Philadelphia will hold.
While Hanzo is being up front sniping, like he's over here, he's going through hotel, he's kind of rotating this way. We're going to see Carpe use this back area and this up area. I haven't seen a Widow use this positioning before, and it works pretty well. Also that... Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So we'll see it just for a second. There he is. There's Carpe. So Carpe peeks his head out, and this is kind of sad. And this is kind of what I would want to change. Also, right there. As he's getting attacked by D.Va, he gets the headshot off of. So Carpe just got attacked by D.Va. And look.
New York without their mercy. And Neptuno brings Sato back up again.
Widow got away with little to no damage done to her.
Just in time. So
while this all happened,
a little bit scary with Sato going down early in the fight, but they held on.
Watch Meko. Here's the funny part. So Meko takes a smidge of damage, and that smidge of damage actually helps us because he went to get the health pack back here. So while this is all happening on point, the D.Va's out of the picture. The Widow already killed someone, and now the Widow is coming back into the picture. So they were down a man just from losing from the death, but D.Va was also out of the picture because of she was just getting health back. And now D.Va was so far away, she dies right here and creates a very big stagger.
And really, just with that one fight loss, it's already too late for the NYXL. They can't finish this map faster.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was a bit of I think it was a good position. It was like a very I don't want to say random, but interesting position from Carpe to get that one pick.
Should say you can't teleport the payload.
He just killed the Hanzo. That was definitely in slow motion. Look at EQO. He's like, oh no! There's no way Genji can shoot a sniper bullet at me. Bam! No, he can.
Someday maybe.
Sorry, EQO.
Trying to escape here. It's going to be the Genji now for Libero, a hero that he certainly has been known for.
So this is a very good shot by Carpe. That actually, that's the biggest thing about this point. And conceptually against double sniper against dive, as the Winston jumps in, he gets shut down. He just gets killed, and he's so deep. There's no way Mercy can res there. And now they're at a big disadvantage. They're at a disadvantage because they're down a hero, but they're also at a disadvantage because they lack the tool to properly attack the Widow.
And Philadelphia still looking dominant here. The halt. Oh, it's going to bring someone in. No kills. No.
Got a hook. Very weird Nanoblade. You're down 2 people, and your idea is the Nanoblade. I get that it can do a lot of work. The problem is, well, no, they're doing, oh yeah, they're doing triple tank. So essentially, you're trying to kill the healer, most importantly, or both DPSers. So they did. They got the key pick. The problem is they only got 1 pick, but there were 2 people dead at the time. So now, if they lose the entire push, the Mercy just comes back. There's no point. And they were down so many people, that's what happened.
That's right. Libero down as as well. Philadelphia's going to hold this one again. 2 minutes in the time bank for New York's attack, and they are already scrambling here.
I am so surprised that they tried that nano boosted Genji again.
Here's
They tried
Hanzo's
it on
lore.
Unconventional in the last match they had against Philadelphia. It was
I don't know. A lot of people start talking about hero picks, but it was just really weird that you're trying to nano blade out of a 2-death deficit on a team that you cannot kill 3 people on. The fact is, he tried to solo ult a Mercy, while the rest of the 5 team was just killing the team. Also, you now see we have a wholesale change. They're going for the slow push, not for the slow push. They're going for the get on the point and kill stuff push, which they do. But again, snipers, how they work is they go for the angles. So they're going to go from this way, from this way, from this way. You'll see the Hanzo shoot from this way, while the tanks just buy time. And essentially, it's just about buying enough time for everyone to get kills. So the D.Va split off against the Widow, and this is smart. Like, New York had to deal with the Widow, but at the same time, Poco's like, well, 2-on-1 now, because D.Va's going up there. And it's not like anyone else, can't help, maybe. That's a wavy line. It can't.
No kills out of it, but it does split them up.
I mean, if D.Va dives in this composition, she dives alone. And if they put people on her, she's going to die. So, gets 1 kill. But there's res. And the snipers at range are just going to tear him apart. I think the idea was let's commit everything, then switch off that. That is what they were doing, but that's what they did. So these are just good picks. But you notice they're good picks, but it's not like the Lijiang Tower one where they're committing with a Lucio speed boost and jumping on him. When they're standing that far back and still getting picks, they're committing less.
The discipline of Philadelphia means that they just get stacked
and so here
and end up losing.
We see it again. Widow, look how far back she is. Look at how far away Hanzo is. If you go after one sniper, the other sniper is going to hit you. If you go after this sniper, the other sniper is going to hit you. If you try to jump on point, they're going to stall on point, and both snipers are going to hit you. Like, it's very difficult. And the thing is they don't have the tools to be aggressive, like vertically as well as. First of all, this is far, far, far away. Lucio boost won't work. Dive won't work. Widow is very far away on this one. See, like, no one can go for this Widow. No one can really go for the Hanzo. If D.Va tries to go for either one of these, they're going to split off and kill the D.Va.
They're trying to be that big tank healing wrecking ball. We'll see if that works out. So,
and then the team gets split 3 ways. Dragon split them this way, and D.Va got hooked up to deal with the Hog. And now, it's exactly as I said. Look, Janus is like, I'm safe this way. No, you're not. And then he turns around and goes, I'm going safe this way, and he gets sniped from this area. Bam, gets hit. Big hit again. Hanzo pressures the solo support over there. Well, the 3 over here, and they're just like, fuck it. Do whatever you want. I don't think that was a panic switch for him. Like, I think they're just like, the snipers are doing better than us. What do we do?
It may happen right now, Doa.
I don't think that's ever happened. Philly on the verge of making it happen, though. Here comes a
good old nano boost just to wipe someone out. Not nano boost, but Orisa ult. Bongos. I forgot the name of this. That's it. I mean, it was. I don't want to say New York Panic. I know that's what everyone says they were, but they just tried a different comp. The first one wasn't working. They're like, yeah, let's try the other thing we're good at. Because you don't know what they tried in scrims. I guarantee they had 2 or 3. They probably had 2 or so plans on how to play that point, based on their scrims. And they probably did the first one, and they're like, well, we need another one, and that was probably their second one.
Extraordinary performance for Poco. They want to run this composition.
Hanamura. fucking worst map. Besides all Sky. So, we will see Sabioli on Widow and Libero on Junk. We see a May just for the first part. It's actually a good pick.
Because it allows them to both play double sniper and I think play dive, Tracer and Genji at the highest possible level.
So, Diva got cocky, got caught. She be dead. And now they're just kind of posting up on the body while the Magus swap.
So they blocked off that top window and immediately punished. Sato going back to the spawn right now, so they're going to retool their strategy.
I was wondering if they were going to do the old Meta Athena.
And now look at this comp. This comp is essentially dive, more or less. It's a high mobility comp. And you always want high mobility. Well, you don't always want it, but it's good on Hanamura Point 1 because this is the issue. You want to get through this choke point with as little casualties as possible and as quick as possible. Not only that, they saw the Widow because EQ almost got shot in the face.
Hanamura.
But the longer you stand at choke point, especially at Hanamura, like you just take more damage. But with the Junkrat, that's especially the case. So there we go. They just run in, looking for stuff to kill, nothing to kill.
Gotta go fast.
And one of my favorite parts of the series is coming up. Right here, watch this.
Point right now in their attack run. EQO firing from afar.
Right there, one shot.
New York has been
And he's like, Widow's over there. What happens? A second later, fucking Winston Trace. Like a 1 second turnaround from like Sabioli probably took a shot and he's like, oh fuck, that was quick. And he dies for it.
And they do. Carpe gets him. Meanwhile, the rest of the team on the point.
So this is good. They got a key pick, and now they're slowly getting around them. So that's a good way to kill stuff. Is I'll just draw it right here. Like they were putting pressure here, and as they got the Widow pick, the map became open. Right, they weren't afraid to show their face around, and so they just all wrapped around. They tried to kill the Orisa. The Orisa didn't die, and they killed the Winston that engaged on them. So now, pretty good play. Pretty good play. It seems pretty even. Dragon to try to get them out of their hidey hole. And it was just good trades all around. Junkrat uses ult, but he trades his life for it. And while this is all happening, it's one thing for the defense, or for the offense to have the advantage on point 1. It's another thing that they're running quick characters, so that this respawn, it's not a huge deal. They're just going to try to chip him out and start winning with the respawn rate. And then, here's the other part about dive. If someone's alone, they're just going to kill him. That's just unfortunate for Sabioli. I think everyone's experienced that when you're strafing and someone strafes, like the enemy strafes exactly with you and all of your shots hit headshots. Here's a cute little... Cute little May play.
Sometimes we see Ana's trying to sleep dart right there. This time, it's going to be the wall that keeps him out for the early pickoff. Really creative. Carpe comes into the pulse bomb. No kills though. Didn't get the stick, but he did push.
Oh, good sleep dart on Ana.
Swapped over to that Ana. Now the self-destruct comes in for Meko. Can he get back into the Diva?
So right there, you just saw one of the big turning points of the map. Diva ults, and Genji was dealing with a Winston. And he gets hit by the tail end of that, and he immediately dies. With that, now they're at a man disadvantage. Bam, both supports die. Push is dead. Specifically, Hanamura, well, 2 CP, everyone knows it's like this. If you get a pick, and you're not in a good spot, or if the enemy gets a pick and you're not in a good spot, pretty much the push is over. Because the defense gets quick respawns. Which should be, I guess I really wonder about the time. If no one doesn't know, they patched it so when you're on point, they patched this a long time ago. If you're on point when attacking, the defense will spawn slower, but now they sped up how fast it happens.
Yeah, Winston, try to dive me. It's not going to go well. I want you to do it. Meanwhile, EQO does swap over to that Genji here. Still the Winston. Self-destruct comes in. No kills, though. Shield came up in time. For
So
Libero.
look at this
Duo with the blade
alt.
out. See we
Genji forces out Zen alt,
kills, though. Shield came up in time for Libero.
but
Duo with the blade out.
the Tracer tried to stick Neptuno, and the Genji just jumps into it.
Nothing. Save will be
And this is where I want to say, like, New York Excelsior, if they played a stable game, incredibly strong team.
in the end. And New York.
So we'll see this a couple times, this map. While it is all chaotic and there's a lot of shit going everywhere, look at how they're lined up. Right, like, even though it's chaotic, there's essentially a straight line here, except for Mono, of positional advantage. Like, everyone is looking the correct way, doing all the damage with these, while everyone is trying to get this Winston, right? Even though it's really hectic, they're still maintaining this good formation, and they still can't. Right here, this is also really good. Their supports are split. If you attack the Yana, you gotta deal with the Zen. If you attack the Zen, you gotta deal with the Yana. It's this support split and maintaining their formation with the rest, like, relative to each other, that really gives them the advantage every time in all these fights.
And look at that. Philadelphia dumped all their ultimates into that push. They do not get any progress on the point at all. And now is the time to swap things up. Carpe, thinking about this Widowmaker. EQO wants to be on the Hanzo
And
now.
since the Zen and Ana are now in open space, Fusion's going to roll with the Widow. I mean, I think it's the right decision. You need to get a pick, and especially since they're staying out in the open. But they can easily just fall back a little bit, go to spawn, or just hold the edge like this. Yeah, they hold the edge like this. And Carpe saw the Widow swap, so this is the best way they can contest them.
Keeping him from using that sound barrier.
Dude, look how safe this is. He's like, I know Winston right there. He's going to try to get me. I'm going to sit back pretty much in spawn.
Using that sound barrier and keeping his team in the fight. Now the nano boost comes in on Mono, and he's going to roast Neptuno. Looks like no chance to
There you
survive
go.
there.
Kill the Widow, or the Mercy pushes over.
Meanwhile,
Just allow the rest of the team to build up ult,
you don't really want to keep things going.
including the Winston, but he already had ult, so not a big deal. But just stalls for time. Also, they wanted to swap off of Ana, because with the Widow swaps, with Widow being played on both teams, you want the Resurrection instead of the Nano Boost. So,
pretty quickly, there it goes.
easy peasy decision, just a Nano Boost and stall for time.
Mono with that extra damage from the Nano Boost will easily take out Neptuno on the
It's
burst.
fucking
Rally
nutty.
early just to get everybody a little.
Is it just me, or is it just fucking nutty that the Hanzo is the one leading the push?
The Nano Boost will easily take out Neptuno on the burst. Rally
just
used
that sounds.
early just to get everybody a little armor before the next
There is
one.
no other DPS in the game that would ever attempt something like that. I mean, I guess he pays for it right there. He gets res, but
Double sniper's supposed to be good against Brigida, but so far Libero's having none of that, man. But
very
there are
ridiculous.
A lot of narrow corridors you need to come through. If you're the attacker,
So Widow's in the back.
or a point B.
She has free reign, gets the sniper again, or the Hanzo again.
It's super hard to get out of this doorway because the defending team can basically use one ult and stop your entire push. Whether it's a Nano Boost or like you saw there, a self-destruct.
Also, with this, we'll notice they went on the offensive.
Get every Neptuno on
It's a little bit. Technically, it's a little bit of waste 100 armor on Diva.
With that extra damage from the Nano Boost will easily take out Neptuno.
Libero's gonna ult, build armor for everyone.
Everybody a little armor before the next fight starts.
They send in that, they get aggressive. When the team, there's just something about hitting someone with something unexpected, I would say. When someone uses a Bridget ult on defense, you expect them to hold back. You don't expect them to throw the armored up Diva mech at you and then jump on you.
Basically use one ult and stop your entire push. Whether it's a Nano Boost or like you saw there, a self-destruct. Sometimes it's a primal rage from the Winston. Very easy to pick off supports and make sure that you punish them in the choke.
So we have Sabiolbi staying super safe, staying way in the back.
The ultimate used by Carpe on the Widowmaker. That infrasight can get vision of where everybody is. Sato trying to chase down the Widowmaker. Save you in a little bit of trouble.
Sorry.
That infrasight can give
Again, we see Hanzo with his just ulting to get everyone out of the position. Sabiolbi is pressured by the Winston. Look how much health comes back. Well, not a lot, but Diva immediately goes to help him. And Sabioli just runs away. Look, he's legitimately in spawn right now, as Meko deals with him.
Bit of trouble. Dragon Strike goes through for EQO.
And
now they're gonna go in again using all.
If you notice, everyone's in the proper position.
Pretty much. Sato holding on to that primal rage. New York just zoning and trying to split the team up again.
So,
he's got
Widow should be dead here. Nope.
Tries
Just kidding. I was lying to you guys.
Just gonna...
Again, while this is all going on, the Widow is doing the same shit over and over and over. She is just staying over here, going out, going in if being pressured, leaving. If someone pressures her, someone else will come over and help them. While the rest of the team kind of sits back here
near spawn, it looks like. Meanwhile, back
and just buys time.
Jonak forced to use his transcendence to keep his team in there.
It was just an ult on nothing. A little bit too... I know where you guys are at.
You're gonna shoot the dragon strike into the spawn.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Just
Delays
does
a little
nothing.
bit. Self-destruct comes in. Everybody dodging though. Sabioli gets hot, but before he can get back in
yeah, so, and then Widow. So here, again, Sato, Winston pressuring Winston, or the Widow. What does she do? Just runs back to spawn.
Strike into the spawn.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And now he's like, well, do I sit here and guard the Widow, or do I help my team out? As he gives a little bit of space to her, gets headshot, kills the diva.
Dodging though. Sabioli gets hot, but before he can get back in the mech though, and now Jonak rather gets carved.
Good. I mean, it was just a stun by Libero on Zen. Killed Zen outright. It was very good sound tactics. The big issue is they can't deal with Sabioli hiding in this back corner. And as soon as they go to commit to him, he runs away. And then he comes back and gets a kill.
Opened up a sightline for Carpe to walk on the upper catwalk, use his infrasight, but they didn't get any kills as a result of it.
I can see Reaper leading the push. Oh yeah, it's for a DPS leading the push. Right.
Their entire ult economy. You can see no ultimates available for them right now, which means they've got to get some out of the
we see this a lot. This is basically the way for Winston to get on Widow in the back corner. Is while the team goes low, Winston, or as the team goes high, Winston goes low, and he'll jump from here over to the point.
Which means they've got to get some out of the NYXL on this push, and then hope they can get one final push that's effective.
So that was a good pick.
Luckily, they had that there.
You get a second pick, but again, Mercy has a very quick escape, which is the Widow, because she's always back there. And look, as we see this, look at this. First of all, the Widow gets another pick. I mean, this can't be... It can't be understated of Sabioli getting these picks.
Maybe not anymore, though. EQO takes on Sabioli, but not before he can demech the diva on the Philly side. Libero jumping forward now, doing what he can on that Brigida, and Philly forced back a little bit.
And as you saw, like, look how... This is why I think New York is maybe a superior team.
Rez comes in. Luckily, they had that there.
Well, all this is happening. I don't want to say it's chaotic, but it's a little bit chaotic. I mean, New York is really good at keeping this line.
In this fight, maybe not anymore though. EQO takes on Sabioli, but
right.
Before he can demech.
Oh, he's pressuring Libero. No big deal. You're trying to hurt Mercy healing targets. And look, there's spam. Everyone go this way. The Widow's over there putting pressure this way as well.
Libero jumping forward now, doing what he can on that Brigida, and Philly
right.
Back a little bit.
And look, there's their whole team in a bit, I would say, a disadvantaged situation, bad positioning. Whereas New York, it's
on his own.
They're so good at this. They have to ult, and all the ult does is get them from here to here. It doesn't really sustain them from here. Whereas Jonak is his ult, always does. And as they push in, ult ends, ult yourself, and push right back in. It was a good idea for the ult, but they can't finish up, they can't follow up on the damage.
Do it. You can heal through that Dragon Strike if there's no extra damage coming in. And now with Neptuno down.
Who's going to win this? Hanzo? Is Hanzo going to win? I almost thought he was going to win for a second.
EQO. Yeah, it's going to be New York holding again. Just about 15 seconds left for Philly. It's going to be really tough.
So that last point, I mean, it's just New York has a very good ability to group up. And the more I see like how they did on Lijiang, and I see how they did on this map, and you look at the Pine type plays, like the super flanky stuff, and it's like, man, why? I know it works, but why take that flank risk? Also, why do they have that one girl that just fucking screams? Jesus Christ. Alright. First of all, Fusion got stopped by Mei putting a wall here, and then they're like, ah, fuck it, we'll do the same thing with D.Va. So don't just keep D.Va out there. Alright, she's going, yeah, see how she didn't go towards the, she just walked out, didn't use thrusters at all, just walk.
So they're gonna try to nano boost the Genji. Get a big play with the ultimate.
And getting some ramen.
Worked out for them yet in this series.
And bam, dive!
They're gonna try it.
Surprise, you sons of a bitches, it's still alive!
He's low, he goes down. Now Libero with the reflect, trying to stay alive. Oh, that's taken out by Metro New York. What a start! They don't even need the nano.
Oh my god, that lady!
Sweet start. Beautiful from Jonak.
My genius is finally recognized.
I have nothing really to say about that except it was very well executed dive.
Right here, New York crushes point A. They've got all the time in the world to take a tick on B and take us to map
Yeah,
5.
scream. The point was taken. Scream!
It's do or dive as they go back to
Yeah, there's not much to say about when dive is done super well. It's just like, fuck, that. It's hard to deal with.
They have at least a draw in their sights.
Right. So we're going to map 5. Regardless. New York would love to go there with a win.
I know I said it was weird that Hanzo was leading the charge, but what's a little bit weirder is Ana leading the charge. Jonak, I get it. You're Jonak.
New York would love to go there with a win.
Fuck.
See what happens. Boombox. With a kill on
You're
Jonak to start things off here.
Not enough ultimates right now. Sometimes
So just a tad over aggressive. I like this play.
This time though, it's not going to happen. Carpe going to take some shots. Doesn't even need it. Hotba will eliminate Animo on the side, and they're going to slow.
So I like this aggressive play. They got the kill. They're like, hey, let's make them pay for it.
So again, just like New York won their first defensive fight on point B, Philadelphia doing the same thing, and that's big. You get a bit of breathing room. You get a chance to discuss things with your team, see how you're going to approach this defense. And
Oh, I heard Widow.
definitely feeling a little bit of relief there.
Just jump somewhere?
Maybe not for long, because that Dragon Blade is coming in on the next fight.
I mean, the nice thing for the Fusion, though, is that they are going to have both of their tank ultimates, which
So this is the
means
stupidest fact I've ever seen. Don't even put this shit up. If you don't get number 1 on Korean Ladder by luck. We slept 2 players. 45 seconds. What kind of stat is that?
Way to zone out the Dragon Blade with a self-destruct. So Philadelphia can definitely hold against this.
So here we see...
QO is on the
So they're kind of running the same idea where they're running a Widow away from the team. But this time the Widow is here. Right? She's a little bit more vulnerable. New York's, where they ran the Widow, was very, very defensive.
and also knock him away with the whip shot as well.
Foresight comes out from Carpe. This is just a delay tactic right
And
now.
so we see...
New York can't go in when that ability
So
is
we
up.
see the Winston.
Oh, self-destruct. Can knock him and he did.
It's a good angle.
From Hotba. Can you
We're going to see the
believe this
Winston do that shenanigans
Every time
again.
Philly needs him to. He
Oh.
gets that multi-kill
Sliding off the roof.
self-destruct. Jonak just going to take a dive there just to get back to
Watching better stats in general? Yeah, they do. But I guess you need, like, seasons to be played before you can really get good stats. Right, that's all. If anyone watches any baseball, it's the most boring thing to watch. But let me tell you, those fuckers have the best stats from any game ever.
And Poco's still doing it as well. And
Yeah.
New York has been so delayed, though. They look at this. They have 6 ultimates up, but they've had several pushes that have been neutralized. Philadelphia Fusion just grinding out this time bank. They had to deal with 7 minutes.
So,
Carpe's in a little bit of trouble.
Fusion just
Carpe gets
time bank.
a bit aggressive.
They had to deal with 7 minutes.
Oh, Carpe's
He almost dies, and it forces... One, it forces the grapple out. It forced the grapple out here, and it forced the Mercy back. And this is what I mean by... Sometimes when you make a play, it's not about killing someone. It's about forcing them to make a decision that it could be a mistake. Like, you really don't know, but basically you make them make decisions that you can capitalize on.
To get away. 6 ultimates for New York. Here comes the blade.
So Genji gets stunned, but he's nano bladed, or nano boosted, no big deal.
EQO. Back to spawn goes Boombox. He's going to live. So Libero only 1 kill there. EQO does get res. Again. The
Thing is that
what New York needed, but
I would say this is a lot different than when New York attacked. Because or when New York attacked or defended, because New York has already breached this line. In fact, I'm pretty sure, yeah, so Winston's already back here. So let's go back to this. So Widow's forced back, and she's hurt. And as you saw right there for a split second, one of Widow's main ways to get away from a Winston at this point is to grapple the ground. And the grapple is not back yet. It's only 5 seconds, so there's 3 seconds left. And Winston is going to force Widow way, way back. So, Widow heals. And then Winston comes in again, but this time with ult. And this is the big difference between the last game, or the last push, was that whenever Sato was attacking the Winston back here, or the Widow, he never had ult and he never got her stuck to the point where she's in a corner right now and he's going to kill her. That's the big one here. Secondly, they're already pushed so far on the point, and the entire team of Fusion is out here. You saw when New York was doing this, and even when they got pushed back, like right here, we saw one support here, they held the line here, and they had space. At this point, they're already compromised for space, and also, there is no time left. Look how fast they got this. As Genji ults, they got on the point. It's like, alright, you can stay in spawn, but we only need 1 tick. And this is why look, I'm just going to say it, I don't like the tick system, and I don't like how whoever defends first is a significant advantage.
He's going to live, so Libero only 1 kill there. EQO does get res again. The Blade not doing what New York...
Fusion is forced on point, and there's a Diva Bomb. Where's Boombox heading down? Boombox got cheeky. He actually could have prevented this entire point. He dies. He had ult. He could have ulted and kept the point and kept his team in it. One other thing that's happening a lot that we don't really see is Jonak getting anti-heals off. So yeah, he got another sleep. Hotba anti-heal. Mercy can't heal him up in time, gets demeched. Boombox ults, but guess what? Anti-heal. They target the anti-healer, the anti-heal target again. And they get the point. Guess what? I didn't know this, but I guess Diva's mech doesn't count as a person yet. And right there when she gets in the mech, I'm assuming she counts as a person on the point. So really a way to make the TP's tick system better without completely reworking it. I don't know how to rework it, but I'm just saying I dislike how it puts one team at a disadvantage for playing first. I just want it to be even. Even if you got rid of the tick system, which may be a little bit too harsh. I don't know. I think they need to fix how people can jump on and off the point and it doesn't capture it.
City of New York.
They are bringing it back. What's
The Philadelphia Fusion
League Grand Finals.
So now we see the final match.
New York Excelsior, an incredible season to be sure. But it all comes down to this. You got to perform in the playoffs. It doesn't matter how many stages you win throughout the year. If you can't win,
Why don't like Hanamura? I don't like the first one.
They want to win Dorado.
Believe it or not, I like the second point. I think some parts did need to be changed, but I think Hanamura point 2 is a good map.
Earlier this week, Arc died twice. He got picked up once by Carpe, once by EQO. Yep. But they were running a very different style of defense. They were running Winston. That is.
Don't worry, the game is still going.
We're done.
Yes, the game is still going right
This is where the whole chat says esports ready. I think isn't that what all the cool kids are doing?
Well, there we go. All right, I was going to make a Ninja Turtle joke, but I don't need to.
So Hanzo shots. That's all we can tell. That's all we know that
I
happened.
had like 3 heart attacks right there, Monte Cristo.
It's all right. We're
I'm
back.
okay, though.
We're back. There hasn't been elimination yet.
So,
and we're gonna see
there's one thing I noticed on this point, and I don't know if anyone else picked up on it. And I'm hoping I'm the first guy that picked up on
They're
it.
playing a standard defense with Jonak on the Roadhog on this map.
So, what's wrong with this picture? Alright. Does anyone see something that's really, or what's weird with this situation? Because I saw something very strange here, and I'm just like, why the defend here? Like, you almost always defend up here, right? I mean, even if teams are getting better and you want to defend, like, right here, just so you can deal with these flanks better, but they're way back here with the Orisa shield. And they had time to set up. It's not like something went wonky and then they got surprised. And I was like, you know what it is? It's because of that back flank. It's because of double sniper. So as you can already see right here, Hanzo doesn't have a very good shot on anything because of this in the way. And then you put a shield here. You're going to see if someone runs through here very easily, and if someone does the wide flank, because a big issue right now is like, oh, what if Widow's back there? Or Widow like sits up here and then grapples up here and you're in really big shit. You're closer to the back flank, so you can easily deal with the side flank. You also kind of put the snipers over here at a disadvantage because they can't shoot through this. And I'm like, oh, you know, that actually makes a lot of sense. I think it seems a lot safer. I believe that's why this should be here. It made a lot of sense.
However, the Rhine and the Zarya are back for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Now, it does give the team a staging ground back here, but I guess, you know, Hulk Hook will fix that.
With an early kill for New York. They're going to need a little bit more. And Billy.
So it was funny because I was like, as I just said, I'm like, you see, if someone walks up here and flanks in here, you're going to see it coming. Of course, Carpe's over there.
Push forward here. Okay, everybody bounced up in the air.
Close range Widow.
Buck should be back.
Widow's way back here. He gets the pick. Don't get me wrong, he got the pick. Ikyo doing a lot of damage up front, but their Hanzo, he starts doing Hanzo stuff. Everyone was within his purview. The Zarya got hooked, so that was an easy kill for him. He got enough ult charge just to... That lady's so goddamn loud. He got enough ult charge to just put it straight down the center, right where they were all standing at. This is going to force the team to either go this way, and buy time for the team to go over here and kill other people if they're already flanked.
I have to rename him Pluto because he's about as far away from the rest of his team's respawn as that planet is.
That's very true. It's not even a planet anymore.
Reference, but yeah, so the poor Pluto, not even a planet anymore. He's still a funny dog at least.
And he's still far away.
There you go. All right. Far away.
So, and you notice, I think both of these teams use this flank a lot in past games, but neither of them are using it this time. I believe it is because the team is playing so far back. Also, that's a funky shield. This is the disadvantage of running a single shield hero. So, that initial shatter is kind of what I'm giving the point. Now they're just jumping on point. Pine almost does some insane shit by just running in circles. Sato, run the other way, please. But they get it. This announcer actually explains it perfectly. There is shit they could have done.
But it doesn't matter. He had the Zarya bubble on him to protect him from any crowd control and damage. And because they just walked past the Orisa shield, NYXL didn't have a choice. They missed position. They had to go closer to a wall.
So he actually says something good.
They couldn't do it themselves.
it was legitimately, there's nothing they could have done. Running single shield tank and you use your shield, you're going to have an issue with hammer.
Is it very specifically supposed to block line of sight from widows and high ground to choke?
Maybe it was. But that's a very dangerous thing to do when Reinhardt's in the game. Because I think Reinhardt can ult under it.
And now they're trying to get control of this high ground. Either that or force New York to jump down.
So right there, classic Hanzo. Winston jumped on the Hanzo. Hanzo jumps into him with Storm Bow. And Hanzo wins.
On the payload right now, he will be the last member of the Fusion to fall. Sato in the last moment, though, it doesn't help with Pine. Quick on the snipe, quick on the scope.
All right.
Widows. Ugh.
With a little bit of defensive stability here on point B. And Philly needs to do point B quickly. It's point C on Dorado that usually eats up a lot of your time. Now, New York nearly...
I'm gonna talk about the coin flip in my chat. Alright, no one wants to be remembered to that shit.
Payload moving forward a little bit. New York gonna jump
So,
down eventually. Sato
this Winston dive,
on his own, went deep to try to get a kill on him, but now he's just in the
like if you look at it in hindsight, you're like, oh, Winston just dies. But it's actually, again, when you do something, it's not about killing people, it's about forcing a positional change and having control. Right there, Widow used her grapple, and now she's in a different spot than when she was before. A place where she probably didn't want to be. And I know that dragon killing her seems super random, and you're like, you can't plan for that. It's not about planning for that. It's just like, things happen when you force decisions out. And the team that understands the fundamentals of Overwatch better has a better chance of taking advantage of that.
Back for that kill in Sato. What do you expect? The guy was on his own so much. But Philadelphia Fusion still coming out this fight. Nice pulse bomb onto EQO. Neptuno pulling out the blaster onto Arc as well.
As Samuel just stopping the payload.
No.
Some time, but he walks straight into
And now this is where double sniper is terrifying.
And
Wide open point.
The rest of NYXL are going to be scrambling.
Hanzo up close, Widow out back.
Point B defense.
Yeah, you gotta do something.
Winston's doing Winston stuff.
They're just
It's a tickle war.
Yeah, giving each other a little bit of a electromassaging. I don't know. Poco takes on Pine, so
I mean, this is a tough spot for New York to be at. Fusion has very, very good positioning to the point where they didn't even show Carpe because they didn't want to tell the enemy team where he was at all.
6v5 here to try to finish point B.
Look at that. Hanzo gets jumped on. Widow starts shooting those guys.
And Carpe, I'd say he needs healing.
Widow gets jumped on. Now the team helps the Widow. All while the center is getting pressured by the tanks.
Mecco again on the point.
It's just good Overwatch. It just so happened that Winston found Pine.
Not meeting the Winston he wants probably. Boombox pops that transcendence to stay alive.
Pine probably could have done something, but that was just pure chance.
40 seconds to try to finish their attack.
Plenty of time for the Philadelphia Fusion, especially when
surprised they're not running Hanzo 100% of the time.
NYXL trying to go all the way
I mean, there's
right now to regroup, but
little reason to not run them.
Firing straight into that spawn room.
No kidding. EQO getting aggressive here at the end. Carpe gets the kill. Oh, Pine finds EQO.
Pine. Not in my house.
They res him. Can they get there in time to bring him back up?
They fight for the high ground. That's a interesting point. They all fall down, but more importantly, they just stop the enemy from getting it.
He was nearly going to get demeched here. So he'll be taking a lot of damage.
And right there is something, like I said, Dive seeks to make things happen. And Tracer actually didn't do anything to this Zen, really. But the Zen was focused on the Tracer, who then got shot by a Widow, who then got jumped on by a Winston. It's not a plan. People are like, alright, Tracer, do 10 damage to him. I'll snipe him. Winston, you finish him off. It's more like, you have to... It's a bowl of mush, because you can't have such hard standards when making a plan. It won't exist. It won't work in reality. It's great to work in theory, but in reality, if your plan is so rigid, it's just going to break.
New York XL, they lost Dorado last time, I think, by some late swapping. That was a key to Fusion's victory, I think. On the first map of this series, Junkertown as well.
There's Pine.
Switches immediately, though.
Way closer than he should be.
Okay, New York. This is kind of what it looked like.
And then Pine, I can already tell you where Pine's at.
Philadelphia trying to push it that last little bit through. Here comes
Oh, there he goes. He grappled away again.
Making its way, giving the payload a little bit more time to move.
So right, this is just vying for position. The big thing to note is the Hanzo got the high ground.
Waiting. He's got the Transcendence available.
SaveLB was siphoned off for the rest of the team by the Dragon Strike, but they couldn't capitalize.
So ults come out.
Capitalize on Meko.
That does it, man. Mono pops that.
Both tanks ult, and that's actually big. Not that only both tanks ult and get nothing. Wait a second.
Big.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Both tanks got nothing. Jonak also ulted, and it only costs both supports to ult right now. But doesn't matter because Pine got a pick.
Neptuno brings Carpe back to the fight, so Philly's still in this one. They've got ultimates to spare too.
Pine. It's funny when I first saw this, I was like, "What the fuck is Pine doing over there?" Pine actually. There he is. Pine grappled up here and then got hit midair by Winston, and it pushed him out into the corner.
They've got ultimates to spare too. Oh, Poco found Pine. But Jonak got Carpe again, and they've got no res.
So trades are happening. Trades favor the defense in this one. A lot of trading. It's a lot of ults. It's hard to decide who's doing what right now. But the big deal is Meko right now just buying time. Pine threatens with Junkrat, and he's like, wait a second.
Pine swapped over temporarily.
How the fuck would I go Junkrat?
Onto the Widowmaker again.
Seconds. They've nearly got it there. Can New York stop them there? Savior will be on the point. He's got to delay as long as he can. Mono coming back in on the right arm, but they've got him pushed away. They're so close.
So at this point, it's 2 picks.
Here come the tanks and the healers from New York, though. Sato gets a big one on the Pine, but Jonak
It's hard to really say what happens. I mean, we can see what happens, but the big thing is we're going to see, I believe it's Jonak and Mercy.
Gets back in the mech too, but they can't keep Mono alive.
So Jonak doing really good damage. And I don't know if he did this on purpose, but Jonak gets launched in alt form, and what he does is Jonak and now Savioli, they're putting pressure on the Zen and Widow. Like, if he did this on purpose, because him and Savioli killed Zen, and then they both come out from back here. Jonak's then going to get the Widow. Like, it's... And here's the thing, when you're at such a disadvantage like this, you need some of these plays to happen. Like, something that is so weird and crazy, because if you play standard, you're going to lose because the team has such a significant advantage. And they finally get them all. They clean up thanks to the Zen play. Jonak doing some crazy shit. I was at a loss for words. Let's just move up a little bit again. He gets killed, and then he's going to get res. Right, they're down 2. It looks really bad. It's a 4v6. Tanks just buying time. That's it. Luckily, Diva had ult. Ryan dies. Zen ults. You notice, like, they still haven't gotten any good kills.
Echo with a little bit of health, a lot of health actually, on that Diva mech, but the Dragon Strike comes through.
Until the Zen and Tracer really start doing work back in the back lines. Mercy saves the point here. Saves it long enough for the other team to get in here. Then Jonak, uncontested, starts doing his Jonak shit. It really is just a really weird... Also, fucking Neptuno. Or going after Neptuno. I don't know if anyone saw that. This is perfect. Neptuno's like, I'm gonna get away, and Ark's like, the fuck you are. Like, everyone's doing their best job to get out damage and kill people, and it works. It was a very good defense. It was unconventional, but it worked, and that's all that matters.
Back in Valkyrie Nyxl in this map on Dorado.
I mean, it may have well have been beating New York, killing
Coming
Neptune.
in. I mean, he comes and gets
Oh, yeah, Fist of Mercy.
That means no more healing, no more resurrection.
And like he comes, dude. Look how weird the situation is. The Mercy dives in overtime to kill the other Mercy, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the back lines. Who's gonna be there to help me? Fucking Zen. A Zen Widow in the back line to save you? Like what? Like oh perfect. Zen's there for me to heal. It doesn't make sense. But it worked.
in Overwatch League, our T-Mobile MVP as well.
Let's start this. We see double sniper on Fusion, and New York is going just all out dive. And this is what they did to take Hanamura very quickly in the first point.
Trying to get this. Oh, that's going to be eaten.
Okay. Yeah, Poco was ready with the defensive matrix to eat that bio grenade. If that would have hit, that would have been not a lot of healing for Philadelphia on this push. It would have been big.
That would have been big.
That was very dangerous.
That was
Right over the
super
shoulder of
close,
Otto.
and that was nearly a devastating sleep dart.
No kidding.
So this is kind of what I was more expecting from the defense. See how they're all pushed up? Now they don't have to worry about the wide flank because they don't have a Widow or anything like that, Widow Hanzo. Oh wait, no, sorry, they do have to worry about it. It's the Widow Hanzo.
That was nearly a devastating sleep dart.
Right, no, I was right. New York's attack. Sorry.
Pushing forward here, Philadelphia has to scramble a little bit to set up the defense.
So Dive does Dive things. They get the Mercy. And the Hanzo.
But that kill is so important as Carpe will fall to Beko and Arc because the
But not much
respawn
else.
distances are so far away from the Philadelphia Fusion. It's a 3-on-3, but the
So by the tank staying alive, notice that yeah, they didn't get much done, but it did force Fusion to set up farther back. And that's the important
We'll
part.
be here in just a second.
Philadelphia is so lucky that they could win that fight despite losing Neptuno early on in that. These are only healers. They needed it.
So Dive forces them back a little bit. Everyone's forced back in the corner. You know what you do when you do that? Fucking throwing a Diva Bomb. Now everyone's forced out of the corner. Forces out some mistakes. And from here, it's pretty much all said and done.
And here comes a blade. Neptuno in a lot of trouble. Staying back, misses them once, but there's a couple kills.
Just get the kills. Yeah.
That's point A.
They had a two-man advantage and they just pushed in. It was a good job on Winston's part, forcing them all behind the Orisa shield. Like, they all just cuddled up behind that. And then Diva Bomb. Very good strat. They could probably win after Mercy, but since they kind of got stuck on the other side during overtime, isn't it still safe to take them to the fight? So, no, that Mercy had ult, so she just kind of flew back up. I mean, it's unconventional, don't get me wrong. I can't tell you, I mean, I can tell you why it worked, but, like, that's not a plan they did. It's just what happened. And that's why communication can't always work. Because that seemed like those decisions they made came from the gut. They're just like, I have to do this. And the team saw the Mercy did that. And the Mercy's not going to go, alright guys, I'm diving in, I need to kill this Mercy. Because by the time he said that statement, it's already done and over with. Like, it's a 3-4 second statement. They just saw the Mercy go in, and the Mercy was like, oh shit, there's my Zen. It's like, everyone's doing what they can for it. Right here's the problem with Dive against Widow. Winston can't jump at her again. Winston over there camping the body, putting on pressure, while Dive is just staying on them. This is classic Dive. Like, for anyone saying Dive does not work anymore because there's a version, it's bullshit. Dive still works if you're good enough.
Here we go.
Just clicking heads right now, can't be stopped on this map.
Pine is in your back line. Eyes in your front line. He's in all your lines.
Now 4 minutes, 40 seconds to make it to the end. This is not
so New York rolling at this point.
For the NYXL.
Look how good they're doing.
To make it through this final point,
nothing can stop.
Over to the Brigitte. Great for grinding out in the front line, reviving that AoE healing.
Yeah, self-destruct comes in for Poco. Ooh, good angle on that, but no kills resulting from it. Looks like it
Winston
had a
just
chance.
setting up for a spawn camp.
Art gets to him anyway, and now Carpe in a lot of trouble. Gets back to spawn. Man, New York doing such a good job of controlling space. There goes Neptuno, and now Mono with the
So Mono is doing some good work here.
Go back to spawn.
He kept Widow in spawn. It's funny. Remember how much he kept him in spawn?
Neptuno, and now
Carpe killed someone. In fact, he killed the most important. He got the most important pick. Widow, or the Mercy. So that little like 4-second gap of him not keeping Widow in spawn actually kind of cost him the point. So Winston's still doing work here. They both know that Winston can't kill him through that stuff.
everyone is all split up. Meko gets back into his mech just in time. Meanwhile, Sato's got the...
And you're like, what? Where the hell is the rest of New York? Why didn't they push the cart? In fact, did this happen on ladder? Let's say if some big name streamer was on ladder and they're doing this to the enemy, they'll be like, what the fuck? Where's my team? I'm doing a 3v1, 4v1 when Bridget came out, and my team can't push the fucking cart. What, do these guys suck? It's not like you gotta be New York Excelsior to push the fucking cart. And it's like, actually, no, like, there are legit reasons why they had issues. And those reasons are... Evil was. While Winston is in here, if we go back... So first of all, we should... Oh no. Where's...
Resulting from it. Looks like it. Art gets to him
So
anyway,
there's the Mercy kill.
Gets back to spawn.
That's the first big one.
New York doing such a good job of controlling space.
So right there, Mercy kill.
And now Mono with the primal rage in
And
the
now,
lines of Philly.
yeah, Winston's buying time, but the Bridget died.
I mean, that was nearly perfect.
And now you're looking at, alright, Mono's busy. That means it's a Widow, Zen, D.Va pushing the cart against a Winston ult and D.Va.
But both Mercies fell. Arc had to stay alive there. Mono still doing work.
Again, Boombox down. New York not pushing the payload right now.
So, D.Va's forced to ult. Winston's forced to ult. Winston's still buying time, and here's the kicker. Winston buys time for the D.Va to ult. And now D.Va is there again. And now both tanks are there again at full health. And this the whole time by both tanks, because, I mean, let's face it, Zen, D.Va, Widow, it's not like something that's going to get through the shields or defensive matrix very easily. Super good stall on Philly's part. Like, Winston, D.Va, if anyone wants to know why they're run together, that is it, right there. They both have very good damage mitigation. They both have ults that refill their health.
They committed so many abilities to that. They only got it just around that corner. Still time, though. They will come back with a Valkyrie here. Matched, though, by the Valkyrie from Neptuno.
Good replay system would be great here.
Not
only do I wish for a great replay system, I wish for... I just want the fucking above view all the time.
It's certainly doable. Hashtag winnable.
So... look where Carpe is at. He is not letting Pine get a chance on him. So far as Sato is pulling up point to say where the Widow is at. Same thing over here. Poco is pulling up point to say if something's there. While the rest are trying to block line of sight with this wall.
Certainly doable.
This entire meta is just like, alright guys, weak heroes, stay the fuck safe. Tanks, call out where the Widow or Hanzo's at.
Winnable. See what they can do. Pine again, lurking on the side. Ooh, Carpe.
So that was dangerous.
Gets a big headshot on Disableby on the side of the fight. You gotta watch out.
I don't know if anyone...
Oh, Boombox playing the fire on the side of the fight. Gets a and again, lurking on the side. Ooh,
this is a very... So, Bridget ults, and I noticed this was a very weird thing. Mercy's hiding in here, healing the Zen who's pulling up point. Cool.
Felt the presence. Boombox gets a big headshot.
Bridget looks at the Zen and he's like, oh shit. Mercy Zen's down here. Being stuck in there with the Bridget. Winston's over here. It doesn't even actually matter, but D.Va's here. Winston's over here. Obviously Widow's right here. No one's getting healed right now. So all this damage they're doing, permanent. They still have yet to come out, the two supports. and it finally starts paying off. So, this is really close. They lose their Bridget. They're going to lose their Mercy here. They get their Bridget back. But nothing's really been healed in a while. So the D.Va dies. Winston dies. Jonak, even though he's getting healed, at that point your 2 tanks are dead. And they're just going to jump on you. The supports, I think, were just trying to live as long as possible for their DPSers to get something done. In fact, I can almost guarantee they were stuck in there and they're like, Pine, please kill someone, please get a pick, and you just couldn't.
Force the card just a little bit further it has to go. But since they haven't been pressuring, you can see it's rolling backwards.
The team's got the bird-eyed gods after the match.
It's much better in the close quarters generally than the Widowmaker. With the volley now that Hanzo has, you can really get in people's faces and make them feel it. EQO, make Jonak feel it. He swapped over to the
So this is where, and I'll just mention it. I usually don't talk about picks. But Pine went to Hanzo, and Bridget immediately went to Farah. And Farah's okay on this point if the team's pushing this way, but if they push through this way, Farah's very good. So there is this EQO Pine thing going on. And notice how comfortable Carpe is right now, hook-shining around, doing everything, because Widow's not in the game.
You can really get in people's faces and make them feel it. EQO, make Jonak feel it. He swapped over to the Farah. It's going to be tough to deal with sometimes. Hard to hit that even for a player like Pine. Payload rolling, Sato rather, primal raging.
Fight going on, and the untold story is this Farah.
Would be huge. EQO flying high. Wow, New York repositioning in that hallway. Boombox brought back to life.
This Farah is doing so much good damage.
Here we go. Transcendence.
And right there's the good pick. Hanzo went to the high ground, and everyone was on the high ground and caught him. It wasn't just the Farah getting him killed there.
That's going to be Mono in a little bit of trouble here. Yeah, he loses a lot of health. He needs to get out.
But with that pick, everyone just resets.
Right now. He actually had the Dragon Strike up Doa.
Zarya.
And now he went temporarily to the Widowmaker, now to the Zarya. Maybe he has time to get a Graviton Surge, but it is going
so
close.
This is the mentality I want people to shy away from, and I hate it that New York is doing it, especially Pine, because he's a respected man. Everyone's like, oh yeah, this is how you play Overwatch. If something doesn't work, just keep swapping. And it's like, no! Stop it. Like, find a couple heroes, get good at them. Don't constantly fucking swap looking for the right answer, because it's about skill, it's not about decisions.
They're changing it up, man. They're gonna go triple tank,
so he
triple support to try
drops the Hanzo and decides to get Zarya Reinhardt. But the entire issue here is that the Farah has such an advantage when you're coming in through this angle. Like, what do they have to deal with Farah? Bridget's not very good at shooting. Reinhardt's shitty at shooting. Low range? Nope. Nope. D.Va? Like, D.Va can deal with the Farah a little bit, but not alone.
Some swaps of his own. Over onto the Moira. Wants that big AoE healing. EQO still on the
so the Farah, and here's the thing. Farah and Widow at this point are essentially long-range heroes, right? They're both just far in the back, just taking pot shots.
Faster than you've ever seen it built before. Barrage for EQO. A big one could end it. Arc down already. Philadelphia with a real chance here. And Sabiel be down right before he got his
So Sabiel gets killed, and I'm not sure.
Okay,
Okay, Arc died. I was like, why are they backing out right here? Arc died. They're taking a lot of damage. The bad positioning-wise, they're in a bad spot. Reinhardt has no mobility and just gets punished.
And look at this, the late kills. Philadelphia going aggressive. They are draining the time off the clock right now.
The spirit of Fraggy is inside you. Go for it. There goes Jonak. And Philadelphia.
They get a lot of good picks at the end.
Until they try to send themselves to the finals. New York, their season on the line. Arc stopped down. There's a primal rage. He tries to get through with the Lucio.
Lucio dies. They're forced on the cart. Barrage actually doesn't get anything done, surprisingly. Jonak goes Soldier. But 2 good rockets. There we go.
To the Overwatch League Grand Finals. I think they may have.
They have. Doa Arc's the only
That's it. And that's it. The best part about this is I don't know where that crazy bitch is at. I don't know which one it is, but I hope it's one of the ones sitting down just crying. Because she shut up now. By far the best part of this entire review is that girl stop screaming. And that's it. That's it, guys. So, I don't know if anything was learned or if any people enjoyed it, but Fusion played very good. But New York, notice when they played Dive in that last map, fucking worked so well at the start. They rolled them. When they played Standard on Lijiang, damn good games. Took it. When they did it on... what was the other map? I can't even think of it. It was Lijiang... Oh, Hanamura. Very good as well. When they played this just good Overwatch, they're freaking really good. They're a good team. But then when they run Pine, they're just like, Pine, win it for us. We'll do stuff. It's like, they put him in too much of a... he has to do everything. Because there's very few times where I'd go, oh, the tanks did good work here. And I don't like that. Or I'd be like, oh, the supports had good decision making here. Those never came up. It was like, oh, the snipers did something amazing. Cool. Everything else was like just everyone else keeping status quo. Like outside for the Diva Bomb and Junkertown, where I'm like, oh, that set up things beautifully. There's a couple times where like Winston and Diva, they did set things up, but it wasn't a lot. It was more like, well, the Winston and Diva are trying to play a little conservative, or everyone's playing conservative because they're trying to get a Widow pick, and that's what it came down to. It was just, I think if they just played standard Overwatch, they would have won. I think they would have won the grand finals too. I think they would have done really well. They're all talented players and they do really well. Especially during the chaos, they're pretty decent at doing that. We saw that on Hanamura. They were just really good at keeping formation and doing the right thing. So it's really strange that they threw it all away for Pine to do his flanky stuff, and I get it. That's all I do in Overwatch. I get it. I fucking get it, alright? And then, yeah, it's strong. He has unlimited range. He has a burst damage. All you gotta do is flank, get a sight line for a second, and kill someone and win. That's it. That's all it takes. Problem is Philly picked up on that, especially in Junkertown, was shutting his ass down there. They kind of kept the pressure up, less so on Dorado. I mean, they didn't. They lost the first 2 points, and the third point, they didn't keep the pressure on him. They just put themselves in such a safe place that he couldn't get much done. So he swapped off of Widow. Yeah. And then the other games that he was in, I guess, actually, Pine was out on the... Pine wasn't in the Kings Row game, so you really can't talk about it there. And he was out in... It was the third and fourth map. Hanamura, that's right. Yeah, Hanamura and Kings Row he didn't play. So, I think if they just use him as just a solid, like they use him as a good player. I mean, I get Sibioli's really good. Fucking is. But throwing in Pine just for this unexpected snipe works on the bad teams, but on the better teams, they're catching on. So, we'll have to see about this. You're 3-3-0.